like Ryan's going to do the Tina hyperventilating from Bob's Burgers.
And that's the start of the podcast. Welcome back, everybody. I hit record, and then she said that, so we're going to roll with it. Hey, what's going on, guys? Family Style, we're back. Took a little bit of a hiatus, and we are now back at it. And we're coming at you full speed, top gear, high tilt. Yeah. Yep, a little bit of a hiatus. Things got a little crazy for a minute there, but we are back. This is episode 4. Very excited to be here. I'm, of course, Ryan, as always, with Heather and Ashley. And our very special guest, coming at you from the blustery, wintry hells of Alberta, Canada, Justin.
What's up?
Also the author of JJ Reviews, the place on our Family Style blog where he reviews all the things. So far, mainly TVs, movies, music. One day he'll start reviewing Brandon's thigh pictures. You never know.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know if I could ever do that justice.
But anyway, yeah, we're back. Justin's with us tonight. Not really a lot of housekeeping to roll through. We're basically just a little bit of a hiatus, but we are back. This podcast is recording on 4/13. Nobody knows we're recording this podcast. They've all just been anxiously, desperately asking us for episodes and waiting for us to release something new. And we're not telling anybody shit. We're just going to go ahead and record this, and it'll get posted on Sunday at midnight, so Saturday night at midnight going into Sunday, the 16th. And we're not going to say anything. We're just going to, boom, drop it and then just walk away and just see what happens. So excited to be back. Family Style Podcast, of course, the podcast that is literally just about chilling with your homies around the dinner table. Dinner table, of course, being the key conversation for What's for Dinner. That's what I'm calling the first segment. I'm calling What's for Dinner. Yeah, we'll do that. What's for Dinner? We're out of practice, guys. I'm sorry. But, yeah, we're going to start with what everybody either is doing for dinner or did do for dinner. Go ahead and throw it to Heather. Heather, what's for dinner?
I did not have anything fancy. I'll tell you that right now.
I feel like you always segue with that, and it's never that bad, unless it's Pittsburgh pizza.
No. To be fair, I haven't really been eating the greatest this week. Just work's been killing me, just all kinds of activities going on. So, like, dinners have literally been hit or miss, takeout, leftovers, whatever. Tonight, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm having a bowl of Frosted Flakes. So, fucking
Hell
Frosted
yeah.
Flakes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. You know what? There's something about eating cereal for things that are not breakfast. That's just like the peak adult nature of life. Like, yep, I'm an adult.
Right.
I just ate me some Frosted Flakes. Like, sometimes that shit's just good.
And you don't feel like
Breakfast for
cooking,
dinner's
you don't
the
feel like
best.
doing dishes.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck that.
Oh, I agree.
Cereal.
Breakfast for dinner is outstanding. Like, get eggs and oh god, like
You can't lose. Lose.
Yeah, when we went out of town on this last trip that we took to Indiana, me and Veronica went to breakfast the day we left, and we stopped at this place called the Fried Egg, and like, mother of God, it was so good. And it wasn't breakfast time, it was like lunchtime, but fucking omelets and country fried steak, which is basically like, for those of you around the world, it's basically like, it's like fried chicken except it's beef, and it's, I don't know how to explain it other than it's just fucking good. It's just really good. Highly recommend it. But cool. So Heather ate some Frosted Flakes because they're great. Hey, you know.
Especially with bananas. You put bananas in those, it's really good.
Bananas and
I
Frosted
ate a banana
Flakes.
on the side. I didn't put it in the cereal. I ate it on the side.
So did you
that was
take a bite of the banana and then spoon some Frosted Flakes in there and then just... You're not one of those weird people that goes through and like takes a drink of milk and then puts the cereal in afterwards, or vice versa. You don't do that.
No, man. No,
I've seen people do that.
Everybody can make fun of me with my fries and salad, but no, I eat cereal like a normal human being.
Okay, I've seen people do that before, where like they'll put the cereal in and then sip milk, and then I don't know, man. Apparently, it keeps the cereal crunchy. It doesn't get soggy. I'm like, Okay, so a little bit of a debate.
First or the milk first?
I was gonna say a little bit of a debate. Is it cereal first and then milk over top, or milk first and then you pour the cereal like a savage?
I do cereal then milk.
I feel like that too. But I've seen people go through and like flip flop it, and they'll put the milk in and then pour the cereal, and then the cereal just floats, and it just it's a mess. It splashes everywhere if you like don't do it right. And you just plop it in there. For me, it's definitely a cereal first kind of thing.
You want to
Oh,
hear a
yeah?
wild story about cereal? I was at the Shambhala Music Festival in BC, British Columbia, and I'm looking down, and there's a big speaker, and it's loud bass dubstep music, and this guy reaches into his backpack, pulls out a bowl, pours cereal in, goes back to his backpack, pours milk into the bowl, and it's just bass hitting him in the face. He's just partying. Like,
You gotta wonder, like, was that guy on just marijuana, or was he also doing a whole bunch of other party favors?
you know,
I feel like the answer is yes.
yeah. You know, all I know is
life
he was winning. He was winning at life.
He was winning at life.
So.
Like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Cereal at a dubstep show. That's cereal at a dubstep show sounds kind of like some kind of weird like dubstep album. Like like some like it's
With
like
loud
a
amps in the face. Like, he was
synthwave,
probably-
synthwave trance album just called Cereal at a Dubstep Show.
Because he was probably like this far away from the big fucking speaker, like this far away. So his milk was probably like
Vibrating.
rumbling.
Maybe that's the best way to eat cereal. Vibrated cereal. You never know. It could just be like cereal that's
Shaken, not stirred.
Oh, I love it. Oh, Ashley, what's for dinner?
We did glorious East Coast Wawa for dinner.
Wawa.
Ooh.
I've never done
Wawa.
Wawa. I hear it's pretty good though.
You'll have to educate me on what Wawa is.
Isn't it basically? I think it's a party store kind of thing, or like a convenience store almost. Or am I totally?
Yep. It's more like a convenience store. Like it started off as like, do you have like 7-Elevens by you, like a quick convenience store? So it's like the East Coast version of a 7-Eleven, but it became more glorified as time went on, where they have like actual gas stations now and their own hoagies, and it's supposed to be like a staple. It actually started in Wawa, Pennsylvania, so it's like a.
There's
thing
a city
for
in
my
Pennsylvania called Wawa. I thought it was just a goofy ass name.
Oh, Wawa, Pennsylvania. That's where everything is shipped from Wawa, Pennsylvania. Which
That's
I think
impressive.
they've expanded because they've gone down the East Coast now.
Yeah, that's a really
But-
goofy name. Oh.
Wow.
So what did you do from Wawa? Like, what do they got there? Because I know like Taco Bell, 7-Elevens around here have like taquitos, and then like just weird gas station style sandwiches. That's about what you get at a 7-Eleven.
So for Wawa, they actually do like custom sandwiches. So like usually their staple was always a hoagie. The hoagie was the main thing you can get around here, or a sub, whatever you fuck you call it. So they had like all your versions of hoagies or subs, and they kind of went on to like hot subs, and then they've kind of branched out over time. So now they also do like they just introduced a burger, which is okay as much as it can be. It's
It's
convenient store
a burger from a
price.
convenience store.
Yeah, so, but they still have your, usual convenience store snacks in the back, like all your ice creams and your, tasty cakes, which is also a PA thing. Your
We know
little
what tasty cakes are now from this show. Actually, it's weird
Yes.
snack cakes,
like little
I've
snack
learned
cakes.
so much from this
crimpets,
show.
crimpets. Yeah, that's what everybody doesn't know. We actually started this podcast as an educational tool to learn, about food.
Yeah, it's all food related. So my Brandon had a ham and cheese hoagie, and I had a chicken parm, like a little hot chicken parm sub.
I gotta say,
So-
chicken parm is chef's kiss.
And then they have their own iced tea. So if I can angle it right so you can see it, I got the half.
So
and
you
it's
just-
the
you just-
Wawa.
You'll just be slugging a whole thing of iced tea tonight, just like.
I do, half gallon. And if I can get it close enough, you can see.
Yeah.
The blurry, do you see the little bird on top of Wawa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a goose.
A goose.
It's
I like it.
a goose.
It's the
Because
goose.
it's like our fucking state bird or some bullshit. Because they're every fucking where. From Canada. They're Canadian geese. Thank you, Justin. You're a Canadian.
I think the technical term is Canada geese. I don't know why, but my understanding is that is actually the technical term. They're called Canada geese because they're not Canadian necessarily, but they're from Canada. That's where they hail from, so that's called a Canada
And they're
goose. I don't know.
We call them psychotic up here.
Yeah,
No.
Dude, they're bastards.
geese are dicks,
Yeah, man.
man. White geese are okay, but yeah, those Canadian Canada.
No, they suck
whatever.
too.
Yeah, they're just not as bad. They're not as bad. Down this way, we call them honk boys.
That's fair. That's fair.
Whatever.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. So, anyways, Justin, what's for dinner?
So the last I guess 2 years now, I've been using those meal kit delivery things. And so this week, one of the recipes I got was a turkey chow mein noodles. So that's what I made today.
That sounds great.
Ooh.
Yeah, that sounds good. I always look into those, but I got to feed a whole bunch of people because, I've got a whole bunch of kids and babies and things here. So
Yeah.
Why are you giving me the
For me,
finger?
it's just me living here, so it's perfect. And like I get to try different things. And I was never super confident in cooking before I started using them. And it's really helped me like gain that confidence and try different things. I've made things I would never have said I would have made in the past life.
Well,
so
it's cool because I
Is
think
it
a
one
lot
of
of
those-
people have an issue where they just don't know what goes with what. So it's like you go to the grocery store and it's like I don't know what to make because what goes with what. So like that would help too because it just here's ingredients.
yeah.
It's one of
No,
those
they're
meal kits that have all the
great.
ingredients in it, and then you make it.
Yeah, it's all pre-portioned. You just have to cut the veggies or whatnot, and then cook it. And like, I like for single people or just like two people, I could see it being really good. But past that, it'd be tough, I think.
Yeah.
But it's enough for me to make something and then take to work the next day.
Oh, so that's perfect.
For me, yeah. So
Nice.
it's perfect for me. But if you have a bunch of kids running around, probably not. No.
Yeah, 3 babies and teenagers and me and Lady V and why am I getting that look?
He didn't say pizza.
Yeah, Hunter said he didn't say pizza.
Because we ate on our own tonight.
Oh, yeah, to be fair, they ate, so I worked late, so they ate on their own. They went and had dinner, so, didn't involve pizza.
Sorry.
Nobody had pizza?
Actually,
I had flatbread
Silence.
pizza yesterday.
Somebody did have pizza, apparently. They went out, so see, I get all this shit about pizza, but they went out to eat at a buffet, and someone got pizza from the buffet, so sit and spin.
Hut buffet? Pizza Hut buffet?
No, it's a place called Golden Corral. It's basically like
Ooh.
it's just
Golden Corral.
they just and they have everything cordoned off by like here's the Italian section and here's like the Mexican
Love it.
section. I've only been like once or twice, but yeah, that's what they did tonight.
love it.
Apparently somebody ate pizza, so everybody can fuck off. They give me so much shit.
I did flatbread pizza yesterday, so
What kind of pizza? What was
it was
on
just a veggie one. So you just kind of cook all the vegetables up and then put it on the flatbread, toss it in the oven for 5 minutes. Good to go.
Did you put any rocket lettuce on it?
No. No.
Capsicum.
Capsicum all over that pizza. Anyways,
No French fries either. So
French fries on your pizza.
French fries goes on pizza. I will fight people for that. They do.
It
Tim will
does.
fight with
Hey,
pineapple.
listen, one of my favorite pizzas has hot dogs and coney sauce on it. So, hey, I'll fuck with some weird pizzas, man. I don't know.
there's a pub here. It's the spaghetti pizza, and it's spaghetti sauce,
Ooh.
noodles, and meatballs, and then the pizza cheese on top. And
That's-
it's
yeah.
great. It's great. I mean,
That sounds
feel like shit
delicious.
a little bit after, but
Around these parts, we call that red gravy. Thank you very much. Red gravy on the.
apologize. I speak fluent Canadian, and that's it. So I apologize for that.
That's
No,
a very un-Canadian pizza you just described. I was thinking
I'm
like
just.
polar bear stewed meat or something, or like maple
So that makes
syrup
me.
or
So
something.
like, do you guys have like a poutine pizza anywhere? Does anybody do that? Because that sounds like that would be amazing. Like a
I haven't
crust and
seen
then.
a poutine pizza, but we have a chain of restaurants here called Leopold's, and they originate from Saskatchewan, and every week they do a poutine of the week, and it changes up. So there was like last week, it was like a garlic parm poutine,
That
and then the week
sounds
before
really
that,
good.
it was kind of like a chicken Slovaki poutine, and they do shit like that every week.
That sounds really good.
So, and you can see it you have to go to their Instagram page to see what it is every week.
I love
and
that.
it's different every time.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I like the idea of that.
Love poutine.
Poutine is fucking fantastic. Shit's good. We started carrying cheese curds at work that were not in like a 15-pound bag, so I might start fucking with some poutine at home. Because that was the problem. We have cheese curds at work, but like it's food service, some of it. So literally it's like a 10 or 15-pound bag for like $45. I'm like, I'm never gonna eat this much cheese curds. It's a lot of poutine. So yeah.
A lot of poo too.
Well, no, that's the bitch of it. That much cheese, there would be no poo. I mean, there would be poo. It would just not, Anyways, for me, before we go down another rabbit hole. So they ended up eating. So I picked up the same thing that I ate like a week or so ago from that burger place by work. So I don't know what it was called, the Pinos and Cheeto burger. I think it's what Ashley called it. So it's that burger triple style. It's got like jalapenos and cheese sauce and spicy mayo on it and stuff like that. And the outside of the bun's crusted in flaming hot Cheeto dust. And then they have their blazing cheesesteak that has chicken and steak. And then it's got like chili crisp and jalapenos and spicy mayo and a bunch of other stuff. And then I got the garbage fries, which has just a bunch of shit in it. So yeah, that'll be what I'm eating once we're done recording. Good times. Yeah, not
garbage fries.
Yeah, they're called garbage fries. So they're basically, it's like French fries, but then they have just a bunch of shit in it. So there's like bacon and cheese, and it's got chicken fingers in it, but like chopped up, and then there's spicy blazing sauces all over it, and then it's got there's like mushrooms and onions that are sautéed, and green peppers and jalapeno peppers, and it's just got a whole bunch of shit in it. Oh, there's a baby.
I just had a vision
What,
of
in the
them giving me
fries?
like a garbage bag of fries. Here's
Oh,
your
no.
garbage fries.
No, that is what they do at Five Guys Burgers and Fries, though. They just give you a grease-soaked bag
that's
with a bunch
very
of
true.
fries and
That's
shit in
very
it.
true.
It's just like, what?
They're trying to say goodnight.
That place is too
Oh.
much for me, man. Way too
They
much.
didn't even see you.
No.
Sorry, I gotta say goodnight to the babies, and everybody in the world gets to see this now. Hello.
Oh, baby kisses.
No.
Which one is this?
Yeah.
Oh, this is Millie. They're twins. I can't tell. So that's Millie.
Hi, Millie.
Millie,
Oh, your baby. Something comes over me when I see children. I'm so sorry.
This is Harper.
Baby.
See, they're twins, and then they look very
Aw.
much. They look very much like their sister Bailey when she was this age. Like sometimes if I look at one of these girls in like the wrong angle, I'm like, is that? No, it's not, because Bailey's running around and tearing stuff up. So that's Harper.
They have red hair.
No, it's like blonde.
Hi, baby.
Super baby.
Star.
You're like the Lion King.
Yeah, I do that. The Lion King stuff. I always tell Veronica I didn't choose the Papa Life. The Papa Life chose me. So-
I like it.
But yeah, garbage fries and 2 super spicy sandwiches, a burger and a hoagie, or a cheesesteak, or whatever the hell you want to call it from what part of the world you're at. You know, they call them submarines in some places. They call those heroes in other places. Moses! What is up with your hair? What the?
I gotta sit him with
Look at this
Oh.
hair. Look at this hair. This is Bailey.
Wow.
This is Bailey.
Bailey.
Hey, Bailey. Look at that big smile.
It's so cute.
Yeah?
So-
Okay, they're good.
All right. Alrighty.
Something comes over
wholesome
me.
right now.
I'm so sorry.
This is so wholesome.
This is just how it works at my house. There's just babies everywhere, and they're adorable. Love it. Wouldn't change it for a thing.
Little cutie pies.
What'd you say?
So anyhow, we'll leave you alone.
Veronica says, anyhow, we'll just leave you alone. As you wish. All right. Well, that's what everybody's got going on for dinner. But now we have to do the segment where we make people explain their weird food. Unfortunately, I tried to look up Alberta-specific food and then Calgary-specific food. I couldn't find stuff that was super specific. So we're just going to go full-blown Canadian. And you could just explain these top 10 Canadian foods. Sorry, top
I
10.
can give you two things. I can give you two things Calgary has made.
Okay.
Ginger beef. Ginger beef was originally invented here in Calgary. So Chinese food, ginger beef.
I was going to say, is it like a take on a Chinese something or other?
Yeah. Yep. And then it's a drink, the Caesar, or you would call Bloody Mary, was also made here.
Yeah. Well, some Caesars I've heard, it depends. Some Caesars are made, depending on where you get them at, people put beer in them instead of like spirits. So I think that might be
heard of that.
That might be a
Never
region.
heard of that.
Well, you got to remember Canada my way is over by Ontario, and those fucking people are weird.
Yes. Amen, brother. Amen.
So yeah, but I've heard, and then like they call that a take on a Boilermaker, but that's not really what a Boilermaker is, because a Boilermaker is when you drop a shot in a beer and chug it. I don't know. So yeah,
Irish carbo.
Well, no, an Irish car bomb is specifically Guinness, and then you drop a shot of Bailey's, half and half Bailey's and Jameson. That's an Irish car bomb. And then you got to chug it, otherwise it coagulates, which is super gross. It's like drinking cottage cheese. No, but like a Boilermaker is basically doing that with like any beer and any spirit, whereas an Irish car bomb is specifically those 3 ingredients.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they. I don't think they do those in Ireland though, because car bombs in Ireland is kind of probably a touchy subject.
Yeah. I wouldn't think so.
We'll have to ask Allie/Rocky about that when they come on. Because, yeah. Anyways, yeah. So, no, the Caesar, though, for sure. I love a good Bloody Mary. I'm a huge fan of that. The funny thing is, it's funny that you say that was invented in Calgary, because I have a friend whose dad is convinced that they invented that in the 70s in the Detroit area. I was like, pretty sure you guys did not invent the Caesar.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure.
The Unicorn Pub, downtown Calgary.
Yep. I'm pretty sure, and, like, I'm a fan. I'm like, nobody else in my family is, but I am a fan of a good Bloody Mary. Yeah, Veronica's going, no.
Well, I mean, like, the Caesar is, it's key for hair of the dog.
I was going to say, it's hair of the dog to a T. That's usually when I get brunch the next day after hanging out with some people.
Yeah, because in a lot of places here, they'll put like pepperoni sticks or bacon or, some people put olives, pickles, like they'll put tons of shit in them.
Yep.
And it's just got the salt around the ring, and
nothing
beats it. Nothing can bring you back to life better than that Caesar.
Oh yeah, me and Veronica were at at a place in Florida with my parents down in Sanibel Island, and this place had a Bloody Mary that had a full crayfish in it. It's tasty. It's very tasty. But yes, I do enjoy a Caesar, Bloody Mary, whatever the hell you want to call it. I am a fan. Ginger beef sounds good. I could probably fuck with that. I like that even in Canada the Chinese food is not Chinese food. It's some bastardized version of like Chinese food is not what everybody thinks it is. Chinese food is North Americanized, we can say, since we're talking Canada too. It's like North Americanized Chinese food. Like immigrants come over from China and then they're just like, oh, this is what these people like to eat. So they take food that like they're accustomed to eating and then just add a bunch of shit to it that's not healthy at all. So, traditional Chinese food is actually pretty healthy, pretty basic meat and vegetables, like salt of the earth type stuff. Yeah. It really is. It comes over here and it's like, oh man, how do we make this better? Add a shitload of sugary sauces to it. That'll do it. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy me some Americanized or Canadianized Chinese. Well, I've never had Canadianized Chinese, but I'd be willing to try it.
Chinatown and downtown Calgary they got a lot. The Chinese restaurants down there are unbelievable.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's just like going down there for dim sum is just that's another hangover cure.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Like we have a Mexican town outside of Detroit, and like the Mexican food is insane. Like it is.
I love Mexican food.
And there's places where like you'll get authentic ass. We actually have one close to home now, but it's like authentic. Like the executive chef literally spent 30 years living in Mexico City and brought that stuff back. And like you can get the Americanized stuff, but it's called like the gringa menu because, white people. Like that's what it is. It's literally like, oh, you gringos want all this shit. So like they have a menu that is the stuff that people are acclimated to getting, but then they've got like the street tacos and they make tortas, which are like a Mexican style like sub, but they're like this fucking big. I'm not kidding. We got food from there a couple of weeks ago and Veronica got like a dinner that's got like beans and rice and it was like a cheese stuffed poblano. She was like, I want to try one of the tortas too. So she got the tortas. She eats the whole dinner, unwraps the torta and goes, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? She took one bite and was like, I can't. I literally can't. And I ended up eating it the next day. But yeah, Mexican's solid. We have good Mexican food around here. We have a good Mexican town. We don't have really much of anything else. We have Chinese, but it's, probably what you would get in any state, I'd imagine. Yeah. So anyways, let's move on to other non-Calgary, well, not necessarily, some of them might be, but broad form Canadian type foods. So this is a list I found of 10 quintessentially Canadian foods. First on the list is bannock.
Bannock.
It says it's a satisfying quick bread steeped in Canadian history. Flour, water, and butter. Shaped into a disc and fried.
That sounds like a East Coast, Newfoundland,
We-
Halifax.
Yeah,
Kinda
we
New
find
Brunswick
well
kinda
this,
deal.
but this happens every time we do one of these lists. There was stuff on my own list where I was like, "What the fuck is?" I think mine was the Boogaloo Wonderland. It was like some sandwich from weird place in Detroit, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" So this happens. What about Nanaimo bars? They're named after
Yeah.
a city in British Columbia. It's a creamy custardy center.
Yeah, no, I've had that before. I don't have it super often, but they're all right. I mean, it's not my go-to.
Is it
I'm
like?
having a
Is it
bar.
Is it like a? What is it? Like a donut or like ice cream or something? It says it's got like rich graham cracker crust, smooth chocolate topping.
It's
Sounds like Boston
I don't know.
cream
It's like it's pretty. They're not like. I wouldn't say they're terribly soft.
Okay,
Honestly, so
interesting.
yeah, it's hard to explain, but
Interesting.
yeah.
Maple syrup is obviously on this list because,
Yeah, pancakes, waffles, French toast, whatever you want, man. Put it on.
just dead ass drink it straight up, whatever. An actual maple syrup,
Yeah,
not the bullshit that we have down in the States in some places where it's like, oh, it's maple flavored sugar water.
Like you actually go to the tree to harvest the syrup.
Yeah, you
You're
crank it
scraping
open.
it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a faucet right in the fucking tree.
Oh, okay. It's got recipes too, like roasted maple salmon and Brussels sprouts. Ooh.
Ooh, fancy.
What
Yeah,
are? Go ahead.
there's no shortage of what you can use maple syrup for. That's all I'll say about that.
We have a company out my way. It's a local Michigan company called Founders that brews beer, and they have one of their most popular beers is called KBS, and it's a breakfast stout, so like a really dark, heavy beer that's aged in bourbon barrels. And every once in a while, they have a super rare one that they'll drop that's called CBS, Canadian Breakfast Stout, and it's aged in maple syrup barrels, and it is so fucking good. Oh my god. So fucking good. But
Nice.
yeah.
That does sound really good.
Yeah,
I'd try that.
It's I am a fan. Saskatoon berries.
Saskatoon berries. Well, yeah, that's from Saskatchewan, obviously, but
A main
they're
ingredient.
good.
in-
Like it's just berries, honestly. Like,
it's
there's no
yeah.
real-
It says it's summer berries. A main ingredient in pemmican. What is pemmican?
Yeah, they're not really. There's not much to say. It's in the title, berries, basically.
It says they're comparable to blueberries. Kind
Pretty
of?
much, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Interesting. Oh, there we go. Number 5 is Caesars. So there you go. A proud Calgary invention, the Caesar was the brainchild of Italian-born bartender Walter Chell. In 1969, he adapted his beloved pasta with clam sauce into the zesty tomato. That's the difference between a Caesar and a Bloody Mary. Caesars typically have clam juice in them too, which is, yeah. So if that's,
Don't knock it till you try it. Don't knock it till you try it.
I have never
Smell
had
it.
I've never had a proper Caesar, okay, but I have had Bud Light and Budweiser Chelada. We reviewed that a couple times on my beer podcast years ago. It's fucking gross. That being said, it's Budweiser, so that's probably why it's fucking gross. I like a Bloody Mary though, so I might be down.
Well, if you come to Calgary, I'll take you to the Unicorn where they were made, and you
Let's
can
go.
judge for yourself.
Let's go. I gotta get my passport dusted up, and we'll fly on up there. What the
I'll
hell?
be the DD, but I ain't drinking no fucking clam shit.
I'm sure that we could get you a virgin clam juice, Heather. I'm sure we could do it. You guys got clam juice? Just a shot of clam juice?
No.
Speaking on tomato stuff, what the fuck are ketchup chips?
Pretty self-explanatory, man. Ketchup flavored chips.
Like
not
potato
personally,
chips.
not my
Okay.
favorite.
Okay. All right. No. All right. That makes more sense. I was picturing just freeze dried ketchup and chips or something, or
No.
okay.
They're
Okay.
just red. They're just red chips, like same regular chips, but they're
So it's kind of like
ketchup
it's like
flavored.
dipping your fries in ketchup is supposed to be the vibe there, I guess. Like ketchup flavored.
Yeah, pretty much, basically. Yeah.
All right.
Tomato and vinegar chips.
Everybody on this podcast has very strong opinions on food. So, Montreal smoked meat.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Great for sandwiches.
I
Love
know at work that we sell, and I've seen it in grocery stores too, Montreal chicken and Montreal steak seasoning, and it looks like it's got a bunch of shit in it. So I imagine, let's see, salty smoky beef is a Canadian sandwich superstar, best slathered in mustard.
Slathered.
Dry rub with garlic and savory spices. Oh, so it's kind of like they said it's almost like pastrami, but it's got a lot more seasoning to it than pastrami, which is crazy because
Yeah,
pastrami
I'd
is
say that's
heavy.
valid. I'd say that's fair.
Yeah, it's dry rub with a lot
Yeah.
more garlic and savory spices than its sweeter deli cousin pastrami before being smoked, steamed, and sliced. Think beyond the sandwich and bring Montreal smoked meats intense flavors to tacos. Would you say that would work in a taco?
I would. Yeah, I would. I would try it. I have never tried it, but I'm considering it now. So
This doesn't really
I'll
seem.
report back.
I was like, please do report back next time you're on. I expect you to do your homework and try that. I want Montreal
Do a
chicken.
JJ review on the taco.
Montreal beef tacos. Yes, let's go. Just lobster. This number 8 is just lobster. I mean, sure, you know, I guess because you guys
Right out of the Atlantic.
Yeah, I was
right
gonna
out of the Atlantic.
yeah.
Jeez, my mom said I was like 10 months old, tearing into a lobster at the dinner table once, just sitting there ripping it apart, eating all the meat, and I haven't looked back.
Yeah, we
Lobster is the best.
I didn't get into shellfish until much later in life because my mom has all these crazy food allergies, and one of her major food allergies is any kind of seafood, fish, shellfish, or otherwise. It's like deathly bad. So like I was never allowed to eat it because she can't be around it. And then as an adult, I started branching out, and yeah, I really like lobster a lot. Crab is good, but it's just too much work for me. But lobster is always great. Veronica's like favorite go-to meal is like a lobster tail and a filet mignon.
That's
For
How
sure.
can you go wrong with that?
Yeah.
How can you go wrong with that?
There was one time we ordered from a place by us. They had this like lobster fest meal going on, and it was like $60. It was ridiculous, like per person. But it was like it was like lobster mac and cheese, 2 different lobster tails, like a Maine lobster and a rock lobster tail, lobster, like some kind of like lobster cakes, and like it was like all these different dishes made with lobsters. Fucking yeah, lobster is good. I'm a fan of lobster. I can handle some lobster. I would imagine those cold ass waters up by like Nova Scotia, you probably get some killer ass lobster up there.
Oh yeah, lobster from Nova Scotia is any seafood whatsoever from Nova Scotia is incredible. And like if you have an in with one of the people down in New Brunswick, and they can fly it in, and you get like as soon as they fly it in, you get it right in the pot and get it going right away, mixed in with Alberta is known for their beef. That's what one of the biggest things. So like an Alberta beef steak with the lobster.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, steak with some lobster is God, there's just something about a good old surf and turf, which is basically beef and seafood. Any kind of seafood, but the most common pairing is, usually like some kind of steak, so some cut of steak, whether it's ribeye, porterhouse, filet mignon, whatever, and then usually lobster tails. That's like the most common. But some people will do surf and turf, and it's like that with like shrimp. Some people will do surf and turf, and it's that with like, they'll do like haddock fillets or whatever it is. But yeah, lobster is like amazing. It pairs so good.
Yeah. Make me hungry again. I already ate dinner.
LA, that's where can you get? What time? What is your time zone? What are you, an hour behind us? 2 hours behind us?
I'm 2, so it's 8 o'clock right
Oh,
now.
see, it's not too late. It might be too late for me because it's 10 o'clock here. But yeah, you can get some lobster. Fuck it up. Donairs. Donairs. What are donairs? I feel like I've heard of this before.
So donairs, it depends, because there's Middle Eastern donairs, and then there's Halifax donairs. They're the same but different. It depends on the toppings and meat, but like it's a pita wrap, and it's subjective, I guess. People put whatever, but like usually it's pita wrap, the donair meat, which can be anything really, and then like tomatoes, onions, lettuce, some donair sauce. It's
so
you grab one of those at 2 a.m. after a metal show, you're in good shape.
So this is a take, y'all, on gyros, which, as you all know from this show, have titty sauce on them.
Titty sauce. My bad. I forgot to mention titty sauce.
No. Well, no. If I had to guess, this variant has a different kind of sauce on it than the titty sauce. I might be wrong. The titty sauce has like cucumbers. The base is yogurt, and it's got like dill in it sometimes. No, this looks like a tangy, sweet condensed milk sauce. That sound right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so that's close to titty sauce. All right, so donairs with the titty sauce.
Donairs are great. There's a don't that Leopold's I told you about. They did
I was gonna say, so
They-
what kind of
they have a
restaurant?
donair
What kind of
poutine
restaurant
there.
out your way sells those? Because like in my area, we talked about on the episode where I talked about Detroit shit. I think it was the first episode. We have like these restaurants that they came out of New York, and it's called a Coney Island, and it's like there's 9,000 of them around us, and that's where you would get this kind of stuff at. So like, what kind of restaurants sell those your way?
So, for an East Coast Canadian donair, we have a restaurant here called Blowers in Grafton. Unreal. They're from Halifax. Blowers in Grafton is an intersection street in Halifax, and they sell all sorts of East Coast foods, lobster included. They have these lobster rolls that are just
Lobster rolls.
They got a donair. They got a donair poutine there. They have the spicy pepperoni that you get from there with the hot honey mustard sauce to dip in. And then everywhere, like on a lot of street corners downtown, there's a lot of like the Middle Eastern style donair that you can buy. You just go in and buy it, walk out. Like, and they're popular, especially
it's a big
like I
thing.
said at 2 a.m. So they're open late, and
Hey,
especially like in the summer we have this thing called the Calgary Stampede, and a lot of people fly in. That during those 2 weeks in July, it's right after Canada Day, and it's just the city is just full of tourists. So like everyone's open super late and selling food like that, and then they have weird food just right on the Stampede grounds, the fairground. Like, what else? What have they had there? They've had like pizza with like crickets on it, like just weird shit.
I'd
Weird,
fuck with
like,
that. I'd fuck with that.
Deep fried Oreos.
That's good. Those are good.
It's hard to say because they change it every year, so I'm trying to think of other stuff. But like, there was like a dill pickle pizza that was so good. Like, damn, looking forward to it already now.
I'd give it a whirl, but I don't know that would be my favorite pizza I've ever had.
There's so many options though, so many different things.
Nice,
and
very nice.
It's crazy how much that thing has evolved because like they have concerts. There's multiple different festivals all around the city during that time.
I've heard of it. I've heard it's really cool.
It just gets bigger and bigger every year. It's insane.
That's
how
awesome.
what the city is.
Oh, last on the list, obviously poutine. We talked about poutine. Poutine's a staple. I think a lot of us have had poutine. It's so good. It's just fries, gravy, and cheese curds. But like, there's different variants, and apparently,
I was so stoked when Tim said he tried one at Knotfest there.
Yeah,
I was so happy for him.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's like, so like we over here, like with our Coney Island restaurants and stuff in Detroit, like chili cheese fries is a big thing where it's just like cheese sauce and Coney chili, which is like beanless chili and all that, and delicious. But like poutine, like, it's so good. It's like just the beef gravy. Traditional, I think traditional is just like some kind of beef or brown gravy, French fries. Usually, I want to say it started with crinkle cut fries. I did some research on this before, but I'm not 100% sure. And then cheese curds are just, it's just cheese. It's like a very mild flavored cheese. That's the best way to describe cheese curds. And it's just so good. We have a place out by us. They don't do it anymore, but they used to do a spin on it that used a sour cream based gravy, and they called it Vladimir poutine. It was pretty good. And then I've seen some different variants of it too. But man, poutine pizza, we need to figure that out. That would be probably fucking fire. Like fucking gravy is the sauce base, and then like cheese curds all over it, and French fries. Oh,
heart attack on a fucking flatbread.
Trying to look up the different weird foods that we've had at the Stampede. There was craft dinner soft serve ice cream last year.
That sounds really good.
Sushi donuts, a seafood ramen poutine, Pop Rocks
good.
popcorn chicken,
Yeah, I'm just gonna have a microphone.
Deep fried bubble
over there, and
gum.
You can just chime in periodically.
Spam mac and cheese, pizza on a stick, gator
Pizza
bites,
on a stick. Gator, but dude, alligator is good. It is really good. It's like a cross between
octopus on
chicken
a
and
stick.
seafood.
Yeah, gets wild down there.
It sounds pretty good. I can fuck with that.
How do you do like deep fried bubble gum? That's interesting.
I didn't try that one. I didn't realize that was one. So maybe this year.
I think you would probably just like roll it in some kind of sweet batter, like a funnel cake batter or something, and then just deep fry it. But then, like, aren't you not supposed to swallow gum? Doesn't it like plug your butthole up? Seems like a bad idea. I'm just saying. I don't know. Wives' tales.
When they announce the weird foods for this year's version of Stampede, I will post it in the
please let us know.
food channel, and
Please let us know.
maybe I'll go down there and try and take some pictures and report back on some stuff for you.
I fully support that because I'm very, very curious about.
It's usually a group of us. We go down and we pull our money together and we'll buy like one of everything and we'll all try it and then just walk around the whole grounds and try all the weird shit. So I can make that happen for you.
Nice. No, I support that 100%. That'd be great. I love that. Couple more real quick. Montreal bagels. That's a thing. That's more not.
Ooh.
That's more over in Montreal. They look like bagels They look like bagels.
Yeah, they're just bagels. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other one that kind of stood out here, Steamies. It's just Montreal-style steamed hot dogs, but they're called Steamies.
I haven't tried that. Never heard that before. I've never been to Montreal. I've been wanting to get down there for sure. I've heard it's beautiful down there. So.
Well, I hear from South Park that there's no Canada like French Canada. It's the best Canada in the land. So,
if you ever meet a person right from Montreal, they're
dicks.
They're
fucking dick. No, I can tell you right now, people. I'm sorry, and you know what? I can say this because my entire whole dad's side of the family is French Canadian. French Canadians are fucking dicks. They are the rudest people you'll ever deal with.
No argument.
It's like I'm sorry, I'm generalizing, but like I said, this is my heritage because that's where my dad's family comes from. They are fucking assholes up there. They are so. Literally, I was at work one day and there was two French Canadian guys in front of me at Subway, and they were talking shit about me, and I could tell they were talking shit about me because they were talking in French, and I took 3 years of French between high school and college, so I could kind of understand that they were talking about me. I responded back in French that I didn't appreciate it. They were making fun of my shirt or something like that, and they got all pissed off, and I'm like, I've dealt with French Canadian people at work, working with the public, this and that. They are terrible. So okay,
well, it depends what French you were speaking to them too, because I think the French.
Oh yeah, Paris
French and Canadian French is a little different, and think they're.
Oh yeah, they think they're better.
Superior.
That's the problem. They think they're superior. So French Canadian French is a whole nother thing, and they turn their nose up to people from France where your fucking language came from. I'm not saying every French Canadian person sucks, but on the whole, the ones I've dealt with have been terrible human beings. That
does not surprise me one bit.
They're just dicks. They're just dicks, dude. Oh.
I want to get concerned now that all these Montreal people are going to join the server.
I will
bring it on.
No, you know what? No, you know what? Fuck it. Bring it on, because please prove to me that not every French Canadian is an asshole. Please, everybody out there, join the server. FamilyStyleNetwork.com. There's a link right there. If you're French Canadian and you're not a dick, please join up. Prove it to me, because I have never dealt with anything but really. And I love that I have a Canadian here telling me, nope, that's basically what it is.
There's a whole East versus West thing in Canada. It's gets ugly.
Oh,
you're nice to everybody else, but not to each other.
Yeah. So. Well, hey. So yeah, French Canada, love it. Yeah, the rest that's apparently. Sorry, real quick, I'll close out of this, but Hawaiian pizza is an Ontario thing, apparently. That's news to me.
Yeah, that makes sense, too.
That makes sense, too. Yeah, most of my exposure to Canada is Ontario, because, I literally can see Canada. If I drive, 2 minutes down the road, I can see Canada across the river. I'm that close to Canada.
Oh, wow.
I'm very, very close.
when you had Sarah on and she's talking about Buffalo and like, because in Buffalo and Ontario, that side, like you get wings and they do blue cheese, but we don't do blue cheese here in Alberta. It's ranch with wings usually. And I remember
Yeah.
I was in Ontario and we got wings and I asked for ranch and they looked at me like I was speaking Chinese. Like,
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Ranch goes on pizza.
and
blue
my
cheese
friend's
is-
like, I'm sorry, he's from Alberta. Just give him the ranch. Like,
He's very Canadian. Just yeah. So like that's most of my exposure is Ontario. I've been to Vancouver before. Love Vancouver. That city's fucking beautiful.
good times. Yeah,
You know, and
City.
just the Canadian Rockies are far superior to our American Rockies. I will stand by that till the day I die. Going up in Whistler and just amazing. But yeah, most of my exposure to Canadians for the 30 plus years of my life has been Ontario, because that's
Well, I mean,
right where I'm at.
That makes sense because like Ontario is 50% of our population.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you got
So-
Toronto and yeah.
Well, and just the size, the sheer size of Ontario,
Yeah, it's
compared
huge.
to every other province is insane.
Yeah.
And
It's like our
So-
Texas. It's our Texas, basically.
yeah,
Both in
well, like,
population
even
density.
so
and-
that like we'll have like a federal election for prime minister, and usually once it's out of Ontario, that's it. It's
Yeah.
over.
yeah.
So
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's like our Texas and California combined. It's huge. It's ridiculous. All right. Well, yeah. So Canadian foods. That's basically what we got. Yeah, I pulled up another list just to see if anything interesting came up. Nothing that's really seems that Canadian. Like there's Saskatoon berries again. Apparently, the Donairs are on there again. Lobster rolls, but we already talked about lobster, so that makes sense. Yeah, nothing too crazy. And then a whole
if you want
bunch
to
of
see the crazy, if you want to do the crazy stuff, just Google weird food at Calgary Stampede. And then that's where you'll get your. That's where you get your.
So
pick.
this is what we'll do. If you go to the Stampede this next time that they come around, we'll do an entire episode themed around that. And I will curate a list of like the weirdest foods ever at the Calgary Stampede, and then you can also review all of the foods you had at this most recent
Yes.
Stampede.
And
Sounds
like a
good to me,
food
man.
review category.
We will do the whole top to bottom.
Yeah.
Love that. That would be great. All right. So that's all the foods. Yeah. Now we move on to the portion where we just bullshit for however long we decide to bullshit. First topic of conversation I would say is Justin. A lot of people don't know this. He's like our resident like music enthusiast. Like all of us love music, but Justin's the guy that like, man, he's Justin, why don't you explain your process for like digging into a new artist? Because we were talking about this in the Discord. I think it's really interesting, and a lot of us have really kind of taken to that. A lot of us have really kind of jumped in and been like, yeah, that's a great way to do it. So like, so I think most recently it was Bad Omens, right? Was the band you really never got into. So like somebody gives you a band like that. Like, what is your process for digging in and saying, hey, all right, I'm going to start, drilling into these, because a lot of people are like, I'll just look at the singles and we'll kind of see if that sounds good and then we'll go from there. That's what I would argue most people do. You do it different though.
Yeah, I agree that most people do it that way, but I like, and Spotify has made this so easy too, right? You just make a playlist, and I'll open up all their albums, and I'll start with the oldest one, put it at the top, and then second, and then work my way down. And then at work, there's a lot of driving time and at home and stuff, so I'll just put that playlist on without shuffle and just go all the way through. And then you see the natural progression of a band and how they've become what they are today. Because usually if a band's getting popular, it's because of their newest stuff, right? So these days anyways. So it's kind of cool to see how a band gets to that point. Because a lot of bands start out abrasive as fuck, and then they become poppy almost, right?
Yeah.
So
a good example of that for me is like AFI. If you listen to AFI's most recent material versus like their first couple albums, it's not the same band at all.
Yeah,
actually, Alexis
even
on
like
Fire, another Canadian staple, is very much like that.
Yeah, they were super screamo and like a little bit of clean singing with Dallas, and then as they moved on, Dallas took more of like a front and center approach with George backing them up, a lot, and now George is even kind of doing clean singing on Otherness, last year's Otherness, right? So it's kind of interesting that the band like that, definitely the evolution of Alexis on Fire.
Yeah. And so what do you find, like, so the biggest piece for you is you get the evolution of, like, the band, you get kind of the evolution of their sound, and are you finding that has opened you up to, like, digging into bands more than you probably would if you just checked out just the popular shit?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've never really done it any other way, honestly. So, because I go to even back in the when there was no Spotify or Napster or anything like that, you go to the CD store, right, and just kind of find the oldest one they got, buy it, start from there, and if you like it, get the next one, right? And
cool.
it's just, and you have
That was almost like Russian
big,
roulette.
yeah. Well,
I spend $10 on this CD. It has to be good.
and there's very much something to, like, Spotify and music streaming services has made it so much easier because there's not, the buy-in is $10 a month. And that $10 a month lets you listen to your shit. And so new stuff it's easy. It is a lot easier than back in the day buying albums, for sure. I think that, so I guess I'll go round table here. For me, like, the way that I've been doing it lately, since shows came back, I've been going crazy. And I just had this wild idea, like, there's websites like setlist.fm that'll give you, like, set lists of, concerts. And so what I started doing when shows came back last March, probably before then, but, if I was going to see, like, my buddy, like, hey, let's go see this band. And, like, there have been shows where, like, I know one band and nobody else, and there's been shows where I know nobody at all. And I've been using setlist to see, like, okay, I've never heard of this band. What music are they playing, when they're playing live, the most recent shows they've done? And then I'll build a Spotify playlist of that, and it's introducing me to some of their bigger music. And then when I go to the show, I, like, recognize every band. I'm excited for every band that comes up, whether I had heard of them previously or not, because I recognize the music. So that's been a huge thing for me. And then, for me, Spotify, I'm very much the basic bitch. I'll jump in and just be like, okay, let's just listen to their entire Spotify playlist and just see what's up. But I think there's something to giving all of the music an honest effort, like looking top to bottom, album 1, album 6, whatever it is, all the way through. Because then, like Heather said, Russian roulette, you might pick the shittiest album up. Like, hey, we all love Killswitch Engage, but everybody would argue that self-titled album is not a great album. It's probably the worst. There's good songs on it, and I don't hate it, but everybody would argue that's their weakest album. Just about everybody would argue that's their weakest album, except for you.
I'm still learning.
But and I don't.
They refuse to play it live. And
they don't. They play nothing off of it live. I don't hate it. There's some good songs on there, but like that entire album was very, very much the end of Howard Jones. Like that led into him leaving the band. It was very fractured. They decided, I think that's the one album that Adam D did not produce, if memory serves. They got a producer for it, which is why it's super commercial sounding and shit.
They got Brendan O'Brien to produce that one.
Yeah, and again, like, not a terrible album, but I would argue if you had never heard of Killswitch Engage and that was the first album that you listened to, just a couple singles off of that, you'd be like, all right, whatever, it's just some other fucking metalcore band. And you wouldn't give them an honest chance. So your method, I love it, because it takes time, and you got to dig into it, but you're probably finding bands, again, Bad Omens, if you had looked up just like one or two of the songs, you'd have been like, yeah, okay, it's pretty good. But going top to bottom, you're hearing everything, and it's like, oh, okay. That's what I've been doing, like, fun, no, like, it sounds like I'm this, like, crazy, nerdy, crazy, massive, huge Spirit Box fan. I wasn't until I started listening to their music to get ready for this concert I'm taking the kids to. But then once I started listening to their whole catalog, I was like, holy shit, there's some good shit in here. Like, wow. Same thing happened, and fortunately their catalog is small enough because they've only been a band since 2017. So I've listened to basically their entire catalog top to bottom, and now I'm like, okay, I might not have been as into these guys outside of the this and that, if I had just gone with the singles. So,
yeah.
What Heather and Ashley, what do you guys do? Like, what's your, like, if you're getting into music for the first time, like, what's your MO?
Go ahead, Ashley.
So for me, I use Apple Music. I don't like Spotify. Just personal preference. Everyone has their personal preferences. I will usually, so they'll have a playlist that they do. and it's a mix of all their songs together. So I'll usually just put that on. I do the method that Justin does, especially if they have an album where I just hit play and let it go straight through the album. I don't let it shuffle because I feel like it's in an order on purpose. They
Yeah.
set that album up in that order on purpose. I like to hear the progression of it. And I will go through a couple of their albums and I'll take a couple songs off each one. And then if I don't like it, I'll skip it and go to the next one, just because you're not going to love everything on the albums, and that's just how it is. It's just for everyone. If you love everything, woohoo! But it doesn't always happen. But I'll do the same thing where I'll just go through the playlist and just listen to it. And if I like that particular song, I'll see if it's a single or an album, and then I'll head over to the album and kind of go all straight through. But I always tend to start all the way back, just because you never know what they'll play, and I want to hear everything because everyone is once they have a couple albums, they'll be all mixed up on their playlist or their set list when they play.
Yeah. So I should say too, like the method that I use where I was, my most recent method of like new bands I've never seen before getting into, what happens is after the shows that I go to, if I go and I just love it, they kick ass, they're really good live, I then kind of start to spin into like the Justin Steven method of like, okay, let's just start listening to all their shit and see what's good. I kind of tend to like blend the two together because there's definitely something to like especially with Spotify, it's so easy. It's the same thing. It's so easy. I start to go through and I do really enjoy listening to entire albums top to bottom and kind of just get a feel for, like you said, it's put together for a reason. An overwhelming majority of bands, that's actually a lot of bands that's the biggest pain in the ass is, okay, here's 35 songs. Which ones do we cut to get to like 13, 14, 15? And then, okay, here's the 14 we're keeping, but how, do we layer these in? There's a rhyme and reason to that, and there's a lot of people always talk about too, like the big thing about vinyl is there's something to listening to an album top to bottom, having something tangible to hold, the vinyl sleeve and looking at it and all that stuff. And like, that's, and just it's a whole experience. Like Henry Rollins is a huge proponent of like physical media, because then you can like get the smell of the record and the dust and all that stuff. And like, there's something to that too that I think that no one's been able to tap into on a digital level yet. But I think that listening to albums top to bottom, front to back, there's definitely something to that I've started to get more into myself too. Like, I'm fortunate that I'm at work. I work in a store, and I'm the store manager, so I just pop an earbud in and I'll just go about my day and just listen to music and just let it go. Or I'm in the car. My drive now is 45 minutes to work. Sounds like it sucks, but it's actually kind of nice because I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a ton of music that way. I can listen to an entire album on the way home and hear it top to bottom by the time I get home in some cases.
Yeah.
Heather, you're on the spot now. Your turn. How do you get into new music? There's no wrong answers to this at all. It's just
I
preference.
know. It's just being on a spotlight's so intimidating. But
says the person that's on a fucking podcast. Being on the spot is so intimidating, which is why I'm doing a podcast that's going on the internet.
I know, right? It's been a while since I've really listened to like new bands and new artists, because a good example I mentioned in the music thread was the new Avenged Sevenfold song that just came out, The Nobody.
Yeah.
When I first heard it, I did not like it. Only because I'm so used to their old stuff, and I seen them in concert. I saw them perform the older stuff, but then I had to stop and think. I had this conversation with my husband not too long ago. Like, the people that we're so accustomed to, unfortunately, they are getting older. They are sounding different. They're exploring different styles of music. So I have to keep in mind, okay, M. Shadows sounds different than he did 10, 15 years ago. So now the more I hear it, it's like, it's really growing on me. And of course, Vincent, he's a drummer for school, so he's always doing the drumming and all that stuff. So it takes me a while to actually like something. Like, even if it's a band I like, it's like, oh, I don't know, but it's growing on me. Like, just today after school, the Nobody song came on. Vincent's like, don't change it, you'll like it. But going as far as like, I wanted to kind of touch up on like foreign music too, because I've had people bash me for this. My two favorite bands are Rammstein and KMFDM. I've had so many people, they speak German, I don't know what the fuck they're saying, and it's
so
like,
what?
but But listen to the music. Don't just listen to the voice. Listen to the music, how they play the guitars, the solos, the breakthroughs, the breakdowns, and even if it is a foreign band, look up the translations. Yeah, some of their songs are kind of out there, but that's kind of what they're known for. But don't let the foreign language fool you. It's like, oh, they're singing in French Canadian. I'm not going to listen to them. It's like, is the music good? Then are the lyrics okay? I've had so many people, I don't like Rammstein because they're German. So, like, do you think that people...
got riffs, man. Rammstein's got
right?
riffs. Fuck yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it's funny because like everybody's like, oh, everybody always thinks of Du Hast, and it's like, oh, it's kind of become a meme at this point. But dude, the riffs in that fucking song are so good. Like, it's just like it's so simple and basic and ridiculous. But like, come on, man. Like, and everybody wants to, like, a lot of people talk shit about Rammstein too. But like, for a fact, if you were at a concert and they just showed up as a mystery band, everybody would go ballistic.
One of the best shows I've ever seen. Rammstein.
Any festival anywhere in the fucking world, if they just dropped in, everybody would go mental. I guarantee it.
What's that song? The video with the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh shit.
Sona.
Yeah.
Oh, hard.
Love that video.
Yes. Yeah, no, dude.
They're on my bucket list. I've been trying to see them for 15 years now, and something always fucking happens.
I'm not into arena shows anymore just because of the tickets and all the other bullshit. And like I prefer intimate shows. I would go to an arena show for that, and I'd probably pay a sinful amount of money.
Because we were going to see them in Washington, D.C., and of course, COVID fucked that up. And even though they rescheduled the tour, we were going to go to the one in D.C. That was the only show they didn't reschedule. I'm like, I guess I gotta bite the bullet and go to Philly. Yeah. Well, my brother was gonna go, but then he was gonna sell his ticket. I'm like, well, I don't want to go by myself in a stadium concert with fucking Rammstein. I'm gonna get fucking trampled. So everyone I knew that went, they said it was a fantastic show. I watched the concert footage on YouTube, and it's just like, I'm like, I should have been there. That's an amazing show.
I didn't know.
Yourself. Never be afraid to go by yourself.
I didn't know you could pack that much fire into a
it's absurd. Like, it's absurd.
I'm shocked I didn't get like burns from but a great show, amazing show. I would see it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, they're definitely on my list. Can we also talk about the fact that Till Lindemann, the singer for Rammstein, is 60 years old? How in the fuck is that guy 60 years old?
Man.
No,
he's great.
Like, no, at all. Like, Jesus.
Well, because like the keyboard player, I don't know his name. The keyboard player, he's on a fucking treadmill the whole time. He's playing. Yeah. And he's like, it'll be like a brisk walk, and then full on sprint, but still playing the fucking keyboard in the back.
Yep.
Fucking Germans, man.
Or when they go out in the crowd in like the inflatable like boats or whatever, fucking like the rafts or whatever. How do they not fall over and like be out of breath and shit? Like I walk out to my mailbox and I'm like gasping for air.
Well,
they're all like super shaped too. Like none of them like. Mad respect to that band, man.
Oh yeah, no, they're definitely on that list. KMFDM too. Fun note, Heather, you're the reason I know anything about that band. I'd never heard of them prior to us doing the playlist, which we need to bring back at some point.
I love them. I literally grew up listening to them because they're 30 plus years old. Not every album is great. They have good ones, they have bad ones, they have questionable ones, but honestly, every band is like that. They have great albums, and there's some it's like, really? Why? But I don't know, it's just, I like them.
Yeah,
I like them a whole lot.
I had never really heard of them
three times.
Yeah, I had never heard of them until you had mentioned them, and I was like, who's this? And then, it's fucking fire, dude. Love it.
I've seen them like 3 times, and the funny thing with back when I used to go to concerts a lot, me and my brother had this inside joke where every concert we went to, someone died. Like, we saw Ronnie James Dio, he died. We saw, I think it was the first Ozfest, it was Slipknot, Paul Gray died.
So what you're saying is we just really
my
need you
husband
to
and I saw
not.
Resentful,
We
but
need
the
you
Rev
to. We
was
need you
still
to not go to
around.
shows. You need to
Go to
stop going to
concerts.
concerts.
Right.
At first I thought
Then
you
I
meant
got to the
people were
point
dying
where,
at the shows.
That's what I thought too. I was like, oh god.
Jesus.
No wonder Heather
no,
hasn't been to a
no.
show in a hot minute. Like people are just dying left and right.
Like, fuck, it's Heather. No, but my brother and I, we had this inside joke. I don't know if it was the first time we saw Kim FDM, but it was to the point where he's like, if Captain K dies in like 2 weeks from now, you're never going to a show again. But he's still around. We're good. So they're still cranking. They're actually working on a new album. So
it's the
we're
lettuce.
good.
it's the lettuce curse. Heather can't go to concerts anymore because somebody dies every time she does.
Oh,
It's actually really funny.
But no, I have the biggest girl crush on the girl from KMFDM, Lucia Cifarelli. Love her to death. I think she's amazing. She's gorgeous. She even has her own solo album, and she's just something about her. She's just so wonderful and great.
I think I found my next playlist because I don't think I've listened to them much.
The funny thing is I've only listened to a couple
you go.
songs, and it's been going through and building those playlists, a couple months back. So yeah, it's good. It's industrial, like fucking yeah. Like it's weird. It feels like Static X meets Rob Zombie meets Korn in some places meets it's like new metal industrial, like yeah. I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. Like I need to dig into that whole list more too.
Like I love them to death. They can be a little repetitive at times with their songs, with their lyrics and stuff. They may not have the best lyrics, which, whatever. But some people say, oh, they're so repetitive. They always say KMFDM in their songs. I'm like, well, so does Rammstein, so.
So does every rapper ever.
Right. And,
like, every rapper
I have
ever.
a band for you guys.
Ooh.
Well, to piggyback off of Heather, so when my friend Matt and I, we used to go to concerts. We started doing the festivals. One of the lead singers or member of the band would die every year before we went.
Oh shit!
So the first year was 2017. We were going to Rock on the Range in Ohio, and we left at 4 a.m. Thursday morning, and by 6 a.m. we heard that Chris Cornell hung himself in his hotel room, and he was due to play the very next night.
Yeah, he played.
Wow.
He played here in Detroit and then killed himself at the hotel in Detroit. That's a cool legacy to have. Thanks, Chris. I'm kidding. That's terrible. That's fucking terrible. But no, yeah, like it was like a whole thing. I know friends that went to that show and it fucked him up really bad because like he killed himself the night after that show. And apparently
he was really
making
weird during the show.
Yeah, like he was apparently making all sorts of statements like people that aren't here tonight are really gonna be upset that they didn't come. Like making all sorts of weird comments and shit.
Yeah, he was acting really funny. And it's who else passed away? So there was one spot, I think it was in when did Chester pass away? Was it 2019 or 2018?
It was right after that. It felt like it was only a couple months later.
Yeah, there wasn't much space in between.
No, because we were going to go to a different concert. It might have been the next year, and then there was a blank space of an unannounced band, and I went, I bet you $10 it was Linkin Park.
Yeah.
Because it took them months to replace it.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Someone always passes when we went. They were like a Japanese weird rock metal band, and the kid in the band fell off the balcony 5 stories. Hit and died.
Oh,
just
Jesus.
ended up being on the balcony and fell. I was like, what is going on? So we were playing this time when we went to Kentucky that no one died. No one did, fortunately. So I think it was just Ohio that was first. But the band I have is it's very interesting. It's different because it made me think of Rammstein and KFDM and all that. It's a symphonic death metal opera band.
Ooh.
They play with a full symphony. She sings opera, and he also screams and growls. But it's a Dutch band, so it's not always English.
Ooh.
Oh no, okay. I was thinking of an Italian band.
This one's Dutch. However, they have 4 different female singers, and they all speak different languages. So you could hear a song that was Italian. It's called Mayan. Mayan.
I'm writing that down.
I absolutely love
I've got Spotify in this other window over here.
They
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
one,
go
two,
ahead.
three,
Go ahead.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 members of the band.
Damn.
Nice.
Wow.
So you and I were drinking the same water around that time.
Yeah,
But
they're
that's
really
a.
good.
It's weird that you brought up the like people passing away because like we had Chris here. I think it was 6 or 7 months before he passed away. He did a solo acoustic show. I almost didn't go. Friend convinced me to go. So happy. And then my friend and I booked flights for Vancouver to see Linkin Park. And 4 days later, he was gone.
Wow.
Wow.
Jesus.
And then the airline wouldn't give us our money back, wouldn't let us reschedule, wouldn't do anything. But luckily, the Flames were playing in Vancouver that weekend, so at least it wasn't completely lost. But
Wow.
nuts.
Nice.
That's,
At least there's
yeah.
like a redemption type show. That's always a good one.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the year that Rob Flynn had that throat virus or whatever the fuck he had. We were at that show where he couldn't sing, and I forget who the opening act was, but like, you know, he first got on stage, the first song they sang sounded great, and like you can just tell the second song he was literally grabbing his throat. He's like, everyone's still playing and shit, and I kind of looked at my husband, I'm like, something ain't right. He's kind of, that's not theatrics, like he's in pain. And then he went backstage, I don't know if he just guzzled a bunch of fucking water, and then he came back out and like he sang like 5 notes, and you can just tell. And then they got off the stage, and then someone came out, they're like, Rob can't fucking sing, like, show's over. And of course people were pissed off, whatever. And then he did like an apology on Facebook or whatever, and like he was just so raspy when he was talking. So, and then they rescheduled the show, and then we went back because we're like, well, you know, it's got to be better. And the way they fucking came back on stage, and what they did was they replayed the first 4 songs. So everyone's like, oh great, it's going to happen again, it's going to happen again, he's going to get sick. And then they just started belting out like all these tunes, and then they played Hallowed Be Thy Name, which to me is my favorite Iron Maiden cover anyone's ever done. And I'm like, play fucking Hallowed Be Thy Name, and everyone's like, oh, he sucks, he fucking croaked. I'm like, dude was in fucking pain, man. Like,
Yeah.
there's a difference between I don't want to go on stage, and like you can just tell like he's trying to fucking play, and he's just like in pain. It's like that was the best time we saw Machine Head, was when they came back from him feeling like shit, and they played extra songs. Like they felt bad because that's where they were when he felt like shit, and they played extra songs. I'm like, fucking
They
great.
already play long shows too to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah. They
Yeah,
do.
then like, everyone's like, oh, he probably sound like shit. I went, that was the best time I heard him. I don't care what you guys think. They came back, they kicked ass.
I went through, so I've seen Killswitch, Jesus Christ, probably 14 or 15 times at this point. I've seen them a ton. So it's probably the one band I've seen more than any other band. And I also, you know, one of my proudest things is that I can tout the fact that I've seen Killswitch perform with 3 different singers. Because so, you know, I've seen him a bunch with Howard Jones. I've seen him a couple, like 2 or 3 times with Jesse. But when things were getting what's that?
The Levante, then I'm gonna guess.
Yeah. I got to see Phil Switch engage. I call it Phil Switch. So you know, when things were getting really, really bad with Howard at the end there, and like there was just a lot of stuff going on with him and everything else, they had this tour, and Howard just I can't remember if it was mentally or vocally, something was going on, and Howard couldn't perform, and so he they didn't want to cancel the tour because, you know, planning a tour, like it a lot of money goes into it. It's not just, you know, there's just a lot to it. So they didn't want to cancel the tour. So they offered refunds to anybody that didn't want to go. But they said, hey, we're going to play anyway, and Phil from All That Remains is going to fill in on vocals. It was fucking awesome. It was super cool. Like, for us, we were like, fuck yeah, we're going to go. Like, I loved All That Remains at the time anyway. And we went, and it was like, like, you're never going to see this again. It was so cool. So, like, yeah, I got to, we call it Phil Switch Engage. So I got to see them perform with Phil Labonte. It was awesome.
That's kind of cool because from the Killswitch DVD that I have in the documentary, was it Adam or can't remember who said it? Phil was second runner-up to Howard.
Yeah,
taking over for Jesse. So
yeah,
that's kind of cool that Phil got that.
Kind of just came full circle. Yeah, and it was for me. It was really cool because it was like you're never gonna see that again. It was so cool. Like, Yeah, we loved it. We absolutely loved it. It was amazing. So yeah, I've gotten to see Killswitch with 3 different vocalists.
We had a similar thing.
Saw them yet?
Trivium.
You've never seen Killswitch?
Really?
No, but I did see Times of Grace though. So
Okay,
that's
pause.
my little-
Pause because Justin had a point. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say Trivium and Light the Torch were playing a show here, and Matt from Trivium had to leave because he was having twins. So
I
Howard
heard about
sang
that.
for Trivium.
I heard about that.
And it was great. Howard,
yeah.
Howard doing In Waves. Dang.
Yeah. Well, it was, obviously, me and Justin know each other before we knew each other from Josta's Patreon. And Josta's talked about multiple times that like when the pandemic like was starting to like it was starting to wind down a bit and they were starting to get the touring going again, Josta and Randy Bly and like Jesse and all these guys, they were all starting to talk about like, okay, well, we all got to be each other's backups in case somebody gets COVID, right? So like, we all got to like start learning each other's shit. Like there's multiple times on his podcast that he talked about that where all these guys have talked about like, dude, we got to figure out like, okay, who's going to back up who? Like, but yeah, I remember, he had Matt from Trivium had twins, I think it was, if memory serves.
Aww.
And he was out for a bunch of dates and like, Howard did a bunch of shows. They flew a couple people in to help. Yeah, that would have been a cool tour to see, like just different people doing like, that's awesome.
Yeah, so the Calgary and Edmonton shows were the first ones with Howard, and Johannes from Avatar did a couple songs too. His Avatar was on the tour as well. So it was great. I mean, it's kind of funny to see Howard run back to the iPad, take a look, come back. Like
the lyrics running around.
Yeah. Well, because you got to think even the best music, like different songs click with you for different reasons. So like different songs, like you just like that hook, or like, oh my God, that nasty, filthy fucking riff that's just like, ooh, yeah. Like, but like, so the words, but then you might realize like if you had to perform on the spot, your favorite song, you might not actually know all the words. You might be that guy that is making weird sounds over this part of the song, but that's not the fucking lyrics. Yeah. So like, yeah, I totally get that. You might be, you might be touring with these guys every night. And oh man, I've toured with them. Like, I would argue like if like, I don't know, Randy went out and then like Jesse had to fill in for Lamb of God on this last tour, he probably would have had to have a teleprompter because like, or vice versa even, it just because it could be your favorite song in the world, but there might be some spots in there. If a song's not your jam just because of the lyrics, like if the lyrics aren't the most important part, and that's okay, it's the hook, it's the whatever, like you may not fully know the lyrics. And yeah, that's
terrible with lyrics. Terrible.
Yeah. I know every Mastodon album front to back. I could probably not sing it if in an emergency.
See that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah, no, you are two things. You are the biggest Mastodon and biggest Limp Bizkit fan that I know. Every time I think I made a comment recently on your Facebook, and I was like, I was going to post this in the Discord, but then I saw that it was you. Or oh no, that's what it was. I was like, as soon as I saw Justin Steven, or as soon as I saw a Limp Bizkit meme show up on Facebook, I knew it was Justin. I was just like, oh, that's got to be Justin, because I was going to post it over in the thing. I was like, oh, nope, there's Justin posting Limp Bizkit memes on Facebook.
Yeah, Mastodon is just, that goes back to like the listening to the full albums and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's just, that's a lot of my favorite albums to listen to have like the narrative behind it.
Yeah.
So like, and 3 of the first 4 Mastodon albums have a story behind it. They're all batshit insane, but like there's a story behind those. And even going back, like Pink Floyd's The Wall is one of my favorite albums ever. And there's a whole story album with that, right? So that's why I love that full album experience instead of just picking and choosing.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do that anymore, those narratives, but like I love it.
Well, it's the idea of like a rock opera, I think, was a thing back in the day. You had bands like Rush or
Queensryche,
yep. And then getting into the 80s, you had bands like Dream Theater that were doing like these long, and like that's a thing that's kind of lost today. Not a lot of bands do that. Like Dream Theater is one that, fun note, I'm actually super stoked. They just announced a tour that's coming our way in July, and it's Dream Theater.
Here too.
Yeah, it's Dream Theater. Animals as Leaders is opening, and then it's Heavy Devon Townsend.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fucking mental. That is a great lineup. Speaking of which, just random, like, going backwards, my biggest regret in life is that I didn't get to go see this tour. The tour was literally Dream Theater, direct support was Opeth, and opening for everybody was Between the Buried and Me.
Damn.
I was like, and like, I don't even know what I had to work or something. It was like 15 years ago. Biggest regret of my life. That would be, and I've seen all those bands separately, but like, holy shit, that's a bill. But anyways.
15 years ago, that would have been like BT Bam's Colors era.
Dude, I will say I did like 3-4 years ago get to see them play Colors top to bottom all the way through, and it was amazing. Fucking, so good. I'm going to see them again in June, I think it is, and they're playing the entire Parallax album top to bottom.
We got them coming here too. I bought the VIP experience too,
awesome.
So you get to go in first, and they play the album, but they bring up the Pro Tools.
Oh, cool.
And they go through the whole recording, and you can ask questions. They're doing a Q&A.
Oh,
and
see,
they show
that is badass.
all the stems of the songs and stuff like that. It's cool.
That's really cool. That'll be a cool
You get
experience.
a 3D poster with 3D glasses, too.
That's awesome. Yeah, once in a while, some of that VIP stuff is cool. Like we did for the Riff Fest thing I did last year, we did that, and we got to see Dirty Honey play just an acoustic set where it was literally like we were just standing I was just standing in front of the guy, and he was just singing like here. Just and they were just like, and there was nothing. He was just like, "What do you guys want to hear?" And like people started yelling songs out, and they were just like, it was just like the two guitarists and the singer, and they were just like, "All right, whatever." Some of that stuff can be kind of cool. Some of it's bullshit, and some of it's kind of some of those VIP things they do it right. It's really cool. The original reason I went into this, we were talking about rock operas, and like Dream Theater has an album called 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, and the album has like 7 or 8 songs on it. The first like 7 or so songs are on one disc, and the second disc is its own song. So there's like 2 discs. The second disc is its own song, and the song is called 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, and it's 45 minutes long. And it's
Jesus Christ.
one song. And it's broken down into tracks, but it's one song, and it talks about like it's a story of somebody's whole life from like top to bottom, whatever it is. And it goes all over the fucking place, but like I love it. It's so good, but it's one of those things where you can't, even though it's broken down into tracks, I can't listen to just one piece of it. I have to listen to the whole fucking. If I'm listening to that song, it is a top to bottom. It's 45 minutes of my life, whatever I'm doing, like top to bottom. But the song is 45 minutes long, and it's a whole story-based thing. Another band I like that does that too. There's a band called Arion that is Dutch band, and there's really only one static person in the band, Arjen Lucassen, and he basically makes albums where he just reaches out to all these artists and says, hey, I want to, so Devin Townsend or, people from Dream Theater or whatever, and he makes all these albums, and it's the same thing. It's a rock opera. It's a story, top to bottom. So he's got like an album called The Human Experience, which is like life from birth to death, and like you don't get that from artists anymore. You really don't. Like experimental shit doesn't, a lot of artists don't do it. They just don't.
It's true.
Boy, long live Mastodon.
Yeah, man. No, Mastodon's great. Or, we've talked about it a bit on the Discord, and I say this all the time. If you're not in the server, get in the fucking server. It's the best community on the goddamn internet, man. It really is. FamilyStyleNetwork.com. FamilyStyleNetwork.com. There's right on the front page there. You can click to join. It's amazing. We're all here because of it, and I highly recommend it. But we've talked about it on the server a handful of times. What?
I just love you, and you can click to join.
Just Veronica giving me shit, making fun of me. I just love you. Boop, click to join. Whatever, man. Whatever. But no, one of the things that we had talked about quite a bit on the server was everybody's differing opinions on Slipknot. Their most recent album is like way different. Like it's all over the place different. I like it a lot. I think, Justin, you said you were kind of like, yeah, I'm okay with it. Like it seems like they've kind of hit the peak apex of like they're just massive, massive, massive popular. They're probably the most popular super heavy band out there. So now they're just like, fuck it. We're just going to do whatever we want to do. Like people are going to come see us regardless. And so now they're just doing what they want to do. They're kind of reaching out into weird territory. The music's all over the fucking place. The newest album was wild. I've listened to it a couple times now.
I really liked Yen. Yen was a really good song, in my opinion. It's probably, in terms of their discography, probably at the bottom for me.
Sure.
But, yeah, like, it is it is a ride for sure. That
Well,
one.
I think
And
I think the conversation, it's not their best stuff, but I think there's something
No.
to say, like, it's still good. It's not bad. I've heard people shitting all, this is fucking garbage. This isn't Slipknot. It's not terrible. I wouldn't say it's as good as Iowa, you know.
I think the biggest thing is I think starting the album with a song like Adderall kind of jarred people a bit.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like a Pink Floyd-y kind of.
Oh yeah, it's atmospheric.
Song.
It's weird.
So I think that's what jarred people a lot, especially after, because they had some pretty heavy tunes on "We're Not Your Kind." Like "Solway Firth" is like a pretty heavy tune, and it's got some vicious fucking lyrics in it too. So to open with a song like Adderall, I think just jarred people a bit. Was all.
Happens. Bands they'll start to venture out and do what they want to do. I mean, people are I haven't listened to it, but people are talking crap about the new Metallica album. It's something that they don't usually do. Even the guitar, I think it's the guitarist, Rob even said something. They're like, people are giving us crap, but we're allowed to change the music. We're allowed to change what we do. We evolve as a band, and you like it or not, but Metallica fans are still going to come out.
What kills me is people have been talking shit about Metallica since fucking And Justice for All came out. Like, Load and Reload, those are fucking terrible. And then, like, the Black Album is the biggest metal album of all time. That album sucks. It's like, are you, what? What is wrong with you? And then, like, and I get it. Saint Anger is, there's questionable choices on that album, but it's not terrible. Like, it's fucking
Sweet Amber is a really good song on that. Sweet Amber on Saint Anger, that's good too.
Yeah, I would argue that every single album, you'd be hard. Like we talked about Killswitch, they're outside of Ashley, they're probably their lowest tier album for most people is that self-titled album. But there's a couple of bangers on there, man. Like, there's a couple of songs on there where I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot about this song because I don't ever listen to this fucking album. Because the rest of the album's like, it's okay, but it's whatever. But like, a lot of people are just like, oh, you're not the same. Like who was I listening to? It might have been Josta. That was just like, there's not a lot of bands that can just release the same goddamn thing over and over again outside of like AC/DC. They release the same fucking album top to bottom every single time. And you know what? It's fine because that's what it is. But you get Metallica and it's like people expect the same, like they're not going to release Ride the Lightning again and again and again. Like that's not, I wouldn't, and there's something to it too. Like those, the guys that have been in the band the entire time, like James, he's not the same person he was 30 years ago. He's not going to release the same kind of music. That would be like expecting Killswitch to release Alive or Just Breathing again. Jesse does not do that kind of shit. Like, it's very much based around the evolution of the sound of this and that and everything else. Like, doesn't make sense.
I'll never fault a band for trying something different, whether it works or not. Like, fuck it.
Well, yeah, and credit where credit is due. They tried something different. If it doesn't work, like you said, that Slipknot album, I'm not in love with the album. It is like, if I had to rank albums, it would probably be near the bottom, but I do like the fact that they're doing different weird stuff. I remember I enjoyed, one of the Josta podcasts I listened to was like, he sat down and listened to the entire thing and just played it and played commentary over top of it. And I love that because it was like, this is interesting. This is different. This is like, okay, now that's all right. They're doing some funky stuff. Ooh, people are going to kind of have something to say about this. Like, it's different. It's weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You could talk about a controversial band, I guess you could say, that I tend to enjoy and I've enjoyed for a long time, who drastically changed their sound, would be Falling in Reverse.
Oh,
because they went from that emo pop stuff to where they're at now. And when I heard this last song, I was like, that's the sound. They have found it. They have tried and tried, and they nailed it this time. And people are still bitching and complaining about it. It's like he tries something new, and he's dead set on it, and he's not going to change. But the evolution of that song, Watch the World Burn, was a roller coaster for me. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Because by the time you get from the beginning to the end, it's a completely different emotion, completely different sound, the way they traveled it in. Because you can't get upset about it. People were all upset because... was a Spirit Box who got kicked off the tour because their fans were upset about it. It's like you can't get upset about it.
No,
it's just not how that works. They're gonna try different stuff, and it's gonna work or it's not. And I think it works.
Yeah.
I think it really works for them.
I think on top of those guys, the most recent band that is like the biggest, like if you went and saw them now versus then, Bring Me the Horizon's not the same band they were back, 15 years ago. Totally different. Like they went a totally different, or Avenged Sevenfold, same thing. Like M Shadows had that vocal surgery and like his entire vocal range changed. Like, and not like, oh, he sounds a little bit off. Like totally fucking different. Like, was not using my instrument properly, wrecked my voice, had surgery, had to completely learn a different way. Like, Jesse had surgery, and but the thing is, you could argue Jesse sounds like Jesse still. He sounds better and tighter now, but he still sounds like Jesse. M Shadows was like, blew his voice to shit. Mm-hmm. Had surgery, came back and had to learn a completely different style of vocals. Like, they're totally different. You listen to, like, their most like Beast and the Harlot, and then go all the way back to their first album. Jesus Christ, like not the same, totally different. Yeah, there's some bands that have really changed, like just the entire like spectrum of sound, and like I agree. Like Falling in Reverse is the same thing. What's interesting with bands like that is when you go see them live, and it's like, well, what do they play? Because you run into that trap where some bands they do that route where like they just don't play the same style of music anymore, and then it's like, were you just going to play the most recent 2 albums? Because I'd kind of like to hear those other 4 albums a little bit. What do we do here? So things get a little bit sketchy there. Like Killswitch is a good example. There's a couple bangers on that self-titled album, but they refuse to play any of that music. Fuck that album. Everybody hates that album. That's basically the entire MO. Heartbreak. Tear. Tear.
I brought up to Jesse, and he was...
Nope.
It will never happen.
Was
so far down.
He's outweighed. Yeah, his opinion doesn't matter in those affairs because unfortunately there's 4 other guys in the band and they all tend to band together when it comes to what they're going to play. For me, there's something about like what is wrong. And again, I'm not in a band, so I guess I don't get it. But like, what is wrong with just popping one little deep cut in there every show? Like one, just pick one for this tour. Okay, this tour we're going to play one little deep cut.
Even Metallica plays Frantic now and then.
Yeah, so. Right. Just throw something random in there. Just one little I think
it may have to do with Adam not producing the album. I think there's just some. I think there's a big stigma with that album and the way it was. I think it was pushed by the label and not by the band.
Yeah.
I think they were forced to make something. This is what we had, and that's why Adam didn't produce it because he's not happy with it. He doesn't like it. It's not their usual sound. It does sound completely like a different band.
It does. Well, and that's going back to the whole like I would never tell anybody to like listen to any of the songs off that album as a first entry to Killswitch because it sounds like every metalcore band ever. Period. Yeah. It just sounds like basic bitch shit. It's not, there's some bangers. I love it. There's a couple songs in there that are fucking fantastic, but
it's not the Killswitch sound. It's not their traditional sounds.
Yeah.
But I want to look it up. I wonder if it's with a different label too. I
think that was their last one for Roadrunner.
I think so. Mistaken. Roadrunner saw. I'd have to do some digging. I did some digging into this, like went down a YouTube rabbit hole years ago. But like, I think it was like Roadrunner like realized that was one of the bigger bands that they had, and they were up and coming and stuff like that. So they were starting to push for like more commercialization, and then obviously Howard was having all kinds of issues. So that all happened, and like, there's something to like. You could also argue that like. Maybe that just entire time period for the band sucks, and playing anything off of that might remind them that like just that whole it takes you right back to that time period. And it's bands, case in point, it's funny because like sometimes it can go the other way where the band is in like the worst state of mind they've ever had and they release their best work. Slipknot's Iowa is a case of that. Yep. Any member of that band will flat out tell you that things were fucked up when that band came out, but arguably that's their best fucking album.
Yeah, because everyone's like, "Hey, we want another Iowa."
Oh, it's hateful and nasty and
one of the
filthy.
Most hateful albums I've ever heard in my life.
People equal shit is one of the single. People equal shit. That is, you could not make that a title of a fucking song that's at Walmart today, and yet you can find that at fucking like People Equal Shit and the Heretic Anthem and like. That was mainstream shit back then. That kind of stuff was on, like, there were songs from that fucking album on MTV. That would never happen now.
No. My poor mother, I had to drag her to the CD store.
Yeah.
And it's because she had to be there so I could buy it. She's like, why are we buying this?
My mom bought it for me for Christmas.
Like literally one of the
So nice.
songs on that album, the introductory lyrics are "I want to slit your throat and fuck the wound." Like, Jesus. Yeah, like, right. But, like, fucking hard. Just that album is hard as fuck. But, like, yeah, but that, you talk to anybody, Corey or Clown or anybody in that band, they would be like, dude, we almost weren't a band anymore. Things were so bad. Like, drugs and depression and all this other shit. So it's just funny how that works. Like, you just find that, like, you hit the gold vein with the right swing of the pickaxe and it just explodes. See, Justin, you're lucky, too, that, like, you brought your parents and they would buy you the albums, whereas I had to listen to, like, bullshit until I was old enough to buy my own stuff.
My mom, my mom got me into, she took me to my first concerts. Like, we've seen The Offspring together probably 7 times, her and I. She loves, like, AC/DC. She took me to Metallica when I was in grade 10. Like, she likes some of this stuff. I don't think she realized what Iowa was when she bought it for me.
It's just rock music, Ma. It's no big deal.
Because I would have been in grade 8 when Iowa came out. So, yeah, I don't think she realized what she was buying, letting me buy. But she does have, like, she bought tickets for that festival in Palm Springs in October, the Power Trip one. She's going to that. Like, so she's got one foot in, one foot out, kind of. She doesn't like the super crazy heavy stuff, but she loves Metallica.
I've started to kind of slowly turn, not my dad. My dad's still just like, oh, whatever. But, like, I've started to kind of turn my mom around to the idea that, like, some of this crazy music I listen to, there's more to it than just screaming. Like, showing her the videos of, people, Ginger and stuff like that, and, like, these women just fucking guttural crazy vocals. But, like, my mom kind of respects now that, like, no, there's a way to, like, the fact that you can go between those harsh vocals to clean vocals, that's skill, that's talent. It isn't just noise. It's for me, it's the same thing. My parents were into, like, we were talking about on the Discord earlier, like the Doobie Brothers and Gloria Estefan, and, like, that's the shit I listened to growing up, and, like, the occasional country from my grandparents and whatever. And, like, I hated it then, and I hated it all the way until I became an adult. Now I love all that shit. I listen to it, and it's great. I fucking love it, dude. Like, me and Veronica are going to see a band at this venue by us called the Yachtly Crew that just covers all sorts of yacht rock from the 80s. It's going to be a fucking blast. It's going to be like Hall & Oates and, like, the Doobies and all this shit. And we're going to have a blast. It's going to be great, and you're going to know all the music, If you like pina coladas, like, fuck yeah. And then, dude, and that fucking song, the pina colada song is, I think, what they, like, put in parentheses for the title of the song. That fucking song, if you've never listened to the goddamn lyrics on that song, listen to that song and really listen to the lyrics. It'll change your fucking life. Because that song sounds ridiculous until you realize it's a husband and wife trying to cheat on each other, and then they find each other in the wanted papers. That's what the fucking song is about. It's hysterical. Like, listen to that song as an adult. Listen to it tonight after we stop recording, and it'll change your fucking life. That song is hysterically funny. Because you listen to it, and it's literally like it's a husband writing to the wanted papers, and then the wife writes to the wanted papers back. And then next thing you know, they meet in person, and the husband and wife realize, oh shit, we're both trying to bang other people. I didn't know you liked pina coladas. I didn't know you like getting caught in the rain. It'll blow your fucking mind. Maybe hit a doob real quick. Like, get a little high. It'll fucking change your entire life.
Gonna have to do that now.
Yeah, I haven't really sat down and listened to that song in a long time.
I'm serious. I don't even remember when the first time I did was, but if you listen to that song and actually just listen to the lyrics, it's hysterically funny. But anyways, yeah, like, my musical tastes, like, it started, like, with that stuff is where my parents were, and, like, yeah, I think the first. It might have been POD's self-titled album or Fundamental Elements of Southtown or something. Dude, I can fuck with POD still. I can still fuck with POD, dude. Satellite, oh my God, that whole album is a banger top to bottom.
Southtown, what a tune.
Southtown, oh, so heavy. But that was where I started with, like, heavy shit, where it was like, yeah, okay, heavy, awesome. And I had no idea. And I started thinking when we were talking about it earlier in the Discord about just, like, where we started with music and stuff. My first introduction to Metallica was on a rock station by us. I had my little boombox that I had just gotten for Christmas, and I found a station I didn't know what rock or metal music was. I just knew what sounded good. You know what I mean? Like, I knew what sounded good. Because my parents were listening to Michael W. Smith and Stephen Curtis Chap and all this Christian bullshit. I still can't get into that shit. I still like the old stuff, the Doobies and the, Journey and all that. I love that. But, like, I can't get into the Christian ass shit. So generic and whatever. If you like it, cool. I can't do it. But, like, I'm listening. I found a radio station that was playing music that I just liked the sound of. I don't know what the fuck it was, but I liked the sound of it. Metallica's King Nothing came on, and that, like, blew my fucking mind. And that would not... 99% of people would say that is not the go-to Metallica song. That was my introduction to Metallica, and it blew my fucking mind. I hit record back in the day when you could record on tape, whatever was playing on the radio.
Yeah.
Blew my fucking mind. And I will never forget. I got obsessed with this radio station. It's called 101 The Riff, and it's the station that does that Riff Fest that we go to every year. I was obsessed with it. That was my intro to metal. It was amazing. I loved it. And I'll never forget, we were at this pastor's house watching the Super Bowl or something, because my parents were deep into the Christianity back in the day. They're not anymore, but they used to be. And I was at there, and I saw a commercial. I was like, oh, cool, I listened to that station. And one of the pastors was like, no, that's terrible. That's devil music. You shouldn't listen to that. That's awful. I vividly remember to this day some fucking Christian Bible-thumping motherfucker telling me not to listen to rock music because it was the devil's music. And that day, I was just like, fuck you, it sounds good. And I was probably 10. I was maybe 10, and I distinctively remember that happening. I'll never forget that. And I've been into it to this day ever since. And, like, started to creep into things, And obviously, like, I didn't have Limp Bizkit albums, but my cousins did, so I knew all the songs. I didn't have the Korn records, but my cousins did. So I got it from other places. I didn't have my own until I was older, but oof.
I got into Korn because my mom wouldn't follow the leader on the radio. She had no idea who they were, so she just tossed me the CD. And I was like, oh, they have a song called Justin on there. This is cool. And
I do.
That is a deep cut right there. That's a deep fucking cut. Yeah, Justin's a deep cut. I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, because like I said, what my mom was into, and then my dad, he liked AC/DC and stuff. But I learned about blues from my dad. So blues music, and so me and him have gone to a few blues concerts together now and stuff like it, and learning that whole side of it. Like, he loves Stevie Ray Vaughan and B.B. King and all the legends like that, so he's showing me stuff like that, and even the outlaw country back in the day, so like Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, all that kind of stuff. That's what my dad kind of showed me. So from as long as I can remember, I've had a broad appreciation for everything.
And I've got that eclectic background too. And when I think about it, my mom used to listen to like Yanni all the time, which is like easy listening, whatever. But like, dude, come full circle. I ended up going and seeing Yanni live. One of the greatest shows I've ever been to in my life. Dude brings all these multi-instrumentalist people with him, and it's incredible. There's woodwinds, and there's a guy playing a didgeridoo running around on stage, and like, it's funny. Same thing. There's music that like my dad used to listen to back in college, like Alan Parsons Project. I fucking love Alan Parsons Project. Didn't get into him until way later in life when I was an adult. But then for whatever reason, my parents, like, there was certain music they didn't listen to when I was a kid, just fell off or something. And then we started talking about it. He's like, yeah, I fucking love that music. That's great. And I'm like I never heard it before. Or my grandpa, I have distinctive memories where how sometimes you listen to a song and it just takes you right back somewhere, to a moment. If I put on George Strait or Brooks and Dunn, I'm in the back seat of my grandpa's minivan. I can smell fucking tobacco in the air because he used to smoke, and we're driving somewhere. That just takes me to that moment. And so there's little bits of country, same thing. Brooks and Dunn. Ended up seeing him years later. Phenomenal. I'm not the biggest country fan in the world, but holy shit, Brooks and Dunn is good. So Neon Moon, that song's my fucking jam. I fuck that song up. I love that song. I fuck with all sorts of different, but yeah, eclectic is not even. Literally, when I write, if I'm writing, if I'm writing blog posts or if I'm working on the website or stuff like that, I listen to smooth jazz. Paul Hardcastle, smooth jazz. I popped him on one of the playlists back in the day. I don't know why. It just soothes me, and I just can and it's just instrumental, and I just click away and do my thing. There's something to being eclectic. I don't know. I love it. I love everything.
No, I understand being taken back to a certain spot. Even today when I posted, I bought those Offspring vinyl records today.
Fuck yeah.
My mom took me to the Americana tour when I was in grade 6. And
I love your mom.
and
Justin's got the best mom ever.
So when I found that album today, it was my first CD too, but like I was transported back to that concert, and I had a T-shirt. It was the dude from the Pretty Fly for a White Guy video.
Yeah.
He's on it with like his thumbs out like this and shit. Like, shirt's long gone, but like I can definitely understand being taken back to a certain spot when you hear or even, and that's the thing with having the physical media too, right? And it's something as big as a vinyl record. Like you see that artwork even bigger than you would have on a CD, right? So,
I always think about the Tool Lateralis album. Like Tool blew my mind back in the day. Like, you know, I didn't really get into Tool during like, you know, when they, you know, sober and all that stuff, but like for whatever reason, like, or not sober, Jesus Christ. I'm thinking like Prison Sex and like the earlier albums before that. But like Lateralis came out and then Sober and Lateralis and Ticks and Leeches and all that. And that album I'll never forget. Like it was weird. It had like this sleeve on it and then you open it up and like the entire album book was printed on clear plastic and there was just graphics all over it and everything else. And that like blew my mind. It was like, and so you're just listening to the music and you're just like looking through this book and it was like a thing. Yeah. It was like this cool thing and it was part of your collection. I love that. God, we gotta capitalize on that. Somebody's got to come out with some kind of way for there to be some more physical media that goes along with music that's more tangible. Because it's definitely lost. Like listening to albums top to bottom is amazing, but there's something missing there, you know?
Yeah.
Digital's so much more convenient. That's the issue. It's so much more convenient than buying a CD and taking it. They don't understand that. Yeah. They, as in the new generation, everything is here.
Fucking Gen Z.
So I remember used to getting like, for me, I guess if you go back to a young age where like Britney Spears or Spice Girls, even, you know, in sync, you would get the big packets inside and have all the lyrics in it. And you can open up the big thing or poster on the one side and you're like, oh my God, you have like 6 different things inside of it.
Yeah, even cassette tapes had that thing where you would open the cassette and then you pull it out and it would unfold like 35 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something to that.
I'm sure they do, but it's not big.
Yeah, it's not what it used to be. You can buy specialty, like, you know, video games is a different, you know, totally different side of the spectrum, but there's a lot of people out there, like these indie developers for video games that are doing, you know, they'll release on the digital platforms, but if you spend extra money, they'll do physical copies just as a collector's thing. And like, there's nothing like that from you. There is, like, there's bands that are doing vinyl now, and, you know, Jack White from the White Stripes is he created a giant, more or less giant in terms of they don't make vinyl anymore, a giant vinyl factory in Detroit where they literally, it's called Third Man Records, and they print vinyl. They do massive quantities of vinyl for basically anybody that wants to sign them up for it. So it's kind of starting to come back music wise too, but it's just doesn't hit the same.
No.
What are your guys' top 5 concerts that you've been to?
Oh, that's a hard question. That's a really hard question. I'm going to run to the bathroom and I'm going to mull that over and then I'll be right back and I'll let you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, that's tough. Well, that Machine Head concert I mentioned. No, it's Water. Sorry, my husband was asking me something.
What band is that?
Water, yes! Fucking Water. No, he thought the dog peed on the floor. I'm like, no, it's Water. It's okay. No, but Machine Head, the first time I saw KMFDM, anytime we saw Iron Maiden, and my first concert was Papa Roach, Power Man 5000, and Korn.
Sick.
Iron Maiden, I've always loved Iron Maiden. I think Bruce Dickinson is a genius in my eyes, and just seeing him live and jumping around, jumping off the speakers and going back and forth, and just love that guy. Love him.
The top 5, right?
Yeah.
I lost count. The Water threw me off.
That's a good list though, Heather.
Thanks, man.
So mine's would be everywhere. So I guess I'll start with the one that really got me hooked, which was the NSYNC concert where I was like 12. 15th row against the catwalk. That was like, they were right there. I was in my little like 12-year-old glory. I would definitely rank Billy Joel and Elton John when they toured together and did the dual pianos. That was up there. I cried hysterically during most of that show because it was just freaking amazing, absolutely wonderful. Because they're never gonna do it again. And it was just cool to see them have really the pianos touching and them going out. It was just freaking fantastic. Other ones would be good. There's so many. I don't know. I guess As I Lay Dying, when I saw them in 2019, after I was going through some health crisis, it really helped me pull. I went by myself, and it was just absolutely freaking amazing. I was only like second from the fence, like right there.
For now, that'll help. That'll help a lot.
There's been so many. Fleetwood Mac. I got to see Fleetwood Mac in full before she passed away this year. Foo Fighters, full band. Definitely.
Bucket List. Sorry, I'm back, and that's a bucket list band for me. I've never seen them, and I want to. Continue.
I've seen them in full. I don't remember fully seeing them, but I was there. I was told recently I saw them, and I looked up, and I did. It was very intoxicating. They were very good. Who else? I would say Kill Switch obviously is up there. I've seen Kill Switch about 40 times. Kill Switch about 40 times now. I have a problem.
That's not a problem to me.
Your problem is that you're not at the show tonight with Carlos. That's your fucking problem.
I'm going tomorrow. I'm driving an hour and a half tomorrow to go see them. Well, worth it.
I am jelly. Fuck yeah.
I don't know if I should peek at the set list.
I for me don't do that with bands that I know, like Kill Switch. I know. I will, like I said, I use that trick for if it's a band I've never seen or don't know much about. I use it for that to get familiar, but I like to be surprised. I like, if I know the music front to back, like Kill Switch, now I'm going to just go and then, oh shit, they pulled out a banger out of left field. Never happens, but because they just play the same shit. But yeah, I don't want to know what order it's coming in. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it. I have a friend. I think I'm just going to leave it and then see what goes on. And then I'm going to try to get in the pit. Hopefully, she'll go in with me. I'll see if she is able to.
Dude,
because I am going with Purple tomorrow. So.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
I have to go with Purple. So we'll see if she'll go in.
She fucks with the pit, doesn't she? She does. Usually, I see her pictures on Instagram. She hops. There's pictures of like, hey, so it's me, and I'm over here on the balcony, and the next thing you know, it's like her next to the stage, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it depends of how they are when she walks in that I know. Because sometimes, I have a kitty here. Sometimes when she walks in, if they swarm her, then she will back off.
Okay.
But the last show they came in Sayreville, New Jersey, I saw her, she waved, and then she crowd surfed to the front. And then like waved hi to Jesse, gave me a kiss.
I just think about like that as a method of travel. Like, hey, how's it going? Like just
She's like, hi. It's like, hi.
That's gonna be the thing. We're just gonna open up a venue where it's like, oh, you need a beer? Oh, okay, we'll crowd surf you to the bar. Oh, you gotta go to the bathroom? All right, hold on. Whoop.
Nice.
That's the transportation. I mean, I've done a ticket out, but it gets too tight or too much.
Yeah.
So I'm only like 5'2", so it gets too much for me. I can't breathe. I can't see.
Yeah.
I'm like up and out. I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm gone. Just send me this way.
Yeah.
Just let me go.
No, I'm that's like for me, I've been I did do some peeking into the set list, so I'm going to the Spirit Box show in a few weeks, and it's going to be mental because like I'm taking all my kids with me because, you know, that's what a good parent does. And none of them have been to a metal show. None of them have been to a show where you're on the floor. Like, it just doesn't compute. None of them have a clue. I showed my one stepdaughter a couple of videos of after the burial, and she was like, Jesus, what the fuck is going on? I was like, exactly. I said, you know where we're going to be? Right there in the middle. She was like, I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't even know. And I flat out told Veronica, I'm like, Christopher, my stepson, I said, he's going to the pit with me. And she's like, just don't let him get hurt. I'm like, he'll be fine. But he's going to the pit. He's going to the pit. Sorry, so where we leave off on top 5 concerts? Who went? Where we leave off?
Both girls have gone. So
Heather went, I went. Yeah.
Oh, I'm up next, so you pitched it, so you'll go last? Okay, I see how this is. I guess I've had enough time. God, that's hard, though, man. So, like, I think I gotta say, like, the first concert I ever went to is probably on that list because it was the first time I experienced live music, and it was just amazing. So back when I was in high school, the first concert I went to was in 2003, so 20 years ago. Jesus. It was in 2003, and, you know, so when I was in high school, I was obsessed with guitar. I played guitar every day. That's all I did. I went to school, came home, played guitar. I was obsessed with it. And so naturally, I became obsessed with guitar players, and one of those guitar players was Joe Satriani. Still to this day, it's a 50-50 split. It goes back and forth. If somebody says, who's your favorite guitarist? Joe Satriani and or Steve Vai. Always. I can't pick one. I just can't. Amazing. So it was the G303. So it was Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, and Yngwie Malmsteen. And it blew my fucking mind. I'd never seen anything live before. Seeing these gods in front of me on stage at 13 or 14 or whatever it was years old, 15 years, I don't even remember, blew my mind. My dad took me, and to this day, incredible. You know, and I guess I gotta say number 2 was Ozfest 2004, because that was my second concert, was fucking Ozfest. My second concert ever was Ozfest. And dude, let me look this lineup up, and it'll fucking, Ozfest. Oh, because the problem is I've been to so many Ozfests, I blend the lineups. Do you guys do that if you go to multiple festivals where you blend? Yeah, that was Rock on the Range 2006, and you're like, no, that wasn't. That was 2009. You're like, there's no way I was that far up. No, you definitely were.
Yeah, that was me with Foo Fighters. Like, I haven't seen Foo Fighters there. And I looked up, I was like, oh.
So, dude, so check this out. So this was the lineup for. So I've been to exactly one concert total. I go to this Ozfest, and the lineup was as follows: God Forbid, Unearthed, Every Time I Die, Lacuna Coil, Bleeding Through, Atreyu, Lamb of God, Hatebreed, Slipknot, Black Label Society, Superjoint Ritual, Dimmu Borgir, Slayer, Judas fucking Priest, and Ozzy. Dude, and this actually isn't the right list because Ozzy didn't play. It was Black Sabbath, which even bigger. Dude, Judas Priest blew my goddamn mind. Judas Priest was so good that I didn't give a fuck about Black Sabbath. Because you got to remember, where I came from music background-wise, I didn't know any of this music. Any of it. I didn't know any of it. I just went because my friends wanted to go. I didn't know any of this music at all. Blew my fucking mind. Like, Judas Priest was incredible. And, like, this was 2004. This was right after Rob got back with the band and they got back together. And, like, dude, blew my goddamn mind. And then the next year, like, following into that, saw Black Sabbath again, and that was incredible. But, like, that's probably number 2 for me because that just changed everything. Seeing that and, like, the festival setting where it's, like, there's a main stage, which is almost like a huge amphitheater. Well, it's not almost. It's a huge amphitheater. And there's second stages in the parking lot. Like, love that. Not enough festivals set it up like that. It was incredible. So that's probably number 2 for me. Number 3's got to be any of the 19... No, I take it back. Go. Number 3's got to be a tie. So at the peak of my Killswitch fandom, when I was in love with the band and, like, literally could not do no wrong, I saw them with Howard Jones at a place out this way in Flint called the Machine Shop. It's like a famous venue. Like, Joster loves playing there. Like, it's a famous venue. It's tiny, too. It's like 300-person capacity. It's the most intimate you can get. I was on the rail for Killswitch Engage, and Hatebreed opened... Sorry, Hatebreed was direct support. 2 Cents and Bury Your Dead, I think, something like that. That was... I'd never been on the rail for a show before, and that was the most incredible thing I had experienced. And second, like, tied with that for number 3 is probably the most recent time I saw Killswitch. Because I took Veronica with me because I was like, babe, I want to take you to the show. I need you to come and see what I like, what this is about, what I like. We managed to get in there and get on the rail, and it was mental. It was a sold-out show. Light the Torch opened. August Burns Red was amazing, and Killswitch. Yeah, and it was sold out. And, like, you know, even if it's a sold-out show, okay, there's some people on the floor. There's a little tiny pit going on. It was jam-packed from open to all the way to the end. It was jam. Like, even Howard was like, Howard stands up in between songs and he goes, we are the opening band and this is fucking ridiculous. This place is packed. It was mental and it was incredible. We had so much fun and, like, we were on the rail the entire time. And, like, after that show, Veronica was like, dude, I get it 100%. Funny enough, Veronica's favorite band was August Burns Red, which I would argue was the heaviest band on that entire tour. She fucking loved it. And I was like, okay, cool. Amazing. We had a blast. That was awesome. So those 2 shows are probably my number 3. After that, man, the last 2, geez. I don't know. That's so hard. You get down, it gets really, really hard. I might have to say, no, I might have to say we surprised my parents a couple years back, and I picked up tickets to go see Daryl Hall and John Oates back 2 years ago, August. And I just called my dad one day, like the night before, and was like, "Hey, do you guys have plans tomorrow?" My dad goes, "No, what's up?" I'm like, "You guys want to go see Hall and Oates with us?" "Oh, where are they playing?" I said, "I already bought tickets. Don't worry about it." And we took them. And the other thing is, I bought tickets that were like the 6th row for Hall and fucking Oates. Like, that's crazy. And I'll never forget, like, I was at the front of the pack, going down the stairs into this amphitheater, going down, down, down. And I guess, Veronica always tells me, she's like, "Your dad was looking at your mom like, how fucking far down are we going to go? Like, this is ridiculous." Like, given and like that felt good because I did something for my parents. And it was a great show. It was amazing. And my parents told everybody about how big of a deal it was that one of their kids did something for them, bought them something, did something special. So I think that probably stands out as a show for sure. But I'll never forget that Veronica was like, "Dude, your dad was like, what the fuck? How far down are we going? How close are we? Like, where are these seats at? How much money did he spend? What the fuck?" Blew their minds 100%. And then if I had to do a last one, Justin, this question sucks.
It's hard.
It's really hard. Like, I could pick from a million different ones, but if I had to do another one, I don't even know. Honestly, if you talk to me in May, it's probably going to be the Spirit Box show I'm going to, because I feel really good about how good it's going to be. And just the family dynamic and everything else. But now, wow, this sucks. This is terrible.
We can accept a preemptive answer.
No, you know what? I take it back. I will say this most recent Fit for a King show I went to, because me, prior to the pandemic, I kind of talked about it a bit in the Discord. I started getting kind of burned out on shows. I felt like, I was just like, all right, I'm kind of grown out of that. I've gotten past that or whatever. And I stopped really going to them. I didn't really go to a lot of shows, like, once in a while. I think prior to the pandemic, the most recent show I had gone to was like Hatebreed in 2018 or 17 or something. I just kind of got away from it. And since then, once it was gone, once the drug, so to speak, was gone, once the ability to go to shows was gone, when it came back, I just jumped on it and was like, "No, let's go." And I basically made the decision, because I got a couple of good friends that I go to concerts with, and our favorite place to be is right next to the pit, because it's kind of fun. You're pushing people around and stuff, but you're not in the pit. But I always kind of reserved myself to kind of just staying in that zone. And this Fit for a King show, I just got involved. And like, Fit for a King was the headliner, and North Lane played. They were the direct support. Alpha Wolf played before them. It blew my goddamn mind. The crowd was amazing. And like, when Fit for a King, when a band stops playing and then like the crowd kind of disperses, people go to the bathroom, the pit area opens up, you can get closer to the front. You know how that happens? I just said fuck it and went right to the front of where the pit's at. And my friends were like, "Oh, okay, I guess we're moving. Cool." So they come with me. And when Fit for a King went on, the crowd exploded. They fell back kind of to the natural position. And I said, fuck this. I'm letting the crowd take me where I end up. Wherever I end up, I end up. I ended up on the rail and in the pit and doing circle pits and walls of death, and just threw myself at it and said, fuck it. And like, it was, nothing else mattered in that moment. And like, it took me right back to what I enjoyed about being at concerts in my 20s. So you know what? That's the one. And that's what I think is going to happen. And that's what I'm hoping to impart on some people when I go to this show in a few weeks. So yeah, I think that's it for me. Your turn, bitch. You gave us the tough question. Now it's your turn.
I've had three different answers to think about mine, so don't worry about it. My first one would be first time I saw Mastodon playing Crack the Sky, my favorite album of all time in its entirety.
There's not to interrupt, there's something to going to see a band play a whole album top to bottom that's just amazing. That's such a cool experience. Continue.
That was the first time I saw the band too, and they did Crack the Sky, and then they had a second set.
Just random songs.
Like, yeah, they came out to Hearts Alive to kick that one out, and it was just like, and me and my buddy Tyne went. We were high on mushrooms. It was great.
I can't even imagine, dude. I didn't even get into weed until I was 35. I can't even imagine what that would be like.
I got some right in my drawer right here. What?
Shroomies?
Second one would be seeing Roger Waters do Dark Side of the Moon in its entirety.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Come
Yeah.
on.
That'd be number 2 for sure. Number 3 would be Outkast at Coachella 2014.
That actually sounds dope as fuck.
That was like 100,000 people. They put bombs over Baghdad, and like it was 100,000 people in the desert just jumping and dancing around and shit like that. Number 4 would be that Offspring Americana tour with my mom. First time we saw the band together, and
best mom ever.
Just a great show. Like a lot of stuff off Smash too that night, and X-Day on the Ombre. Like they did the whole intermission from X-Day on the Ombre, and they sat on couches and they had a dude out with a flamethrower like on his dick, and he's like shooting fire out at the crowd and stuff like that. Number 5, I'll probably tie it with 2, I guess.
I did
Eminem at the Squamish Music Festival in 2014 was an incredible show. And then Lamb of God, Machine Head, and Gojira on the Sacrament tour. And Gojira had just done Ocean Planet. That was the album they were touring on. I had no idea who they were. Showed up early, and this band just punched me in the face for half an hour. And so
that's a great set. Yeah, I haven't seen Lamb of God in a long time, and I'm overdue. They're so good. Like it just Lamb of God. It even if you're not into like that kind of music, they're just good live. They're just so good live. Randy is a fucking Randy's just incredible. Yes. Randy's amazing. And he's just a great human being too, but like just fucking that's a solid lineup. I was gonna tease you a bit and be like, so is it just the 5 times you've seen Mastodon? maybe number 5's Limp Bizkit the one time.
I have yet to see Limp Bizkit.
Dude, they're on my list too. They're on my list too.
A stupid amount of money for that.
They're on my list and I haven't, and like I'm just, I said it earlier when I was talking to you guys. I'm like, I like that now as adults it's okay to unironically be into Limp Bizkit again. Like something happened where it was like all of a sudden, like it was a douchey bro band after we were kids or whatever, and now it's like it's totally okay to be into Limp Bizkit again. Like everybody's like, oh, Fred Durst's new look for his new tour, and like it's like okay again.
We never stopped listening to it. We all secretly listened to it this entire time.
Yeah.
And now we're old enough to be like, I don't care. You get to listen to them. I want to see them.
I was telling my friend I'm just in my second Limp Bizkit era. Like
it's just beginning.
We were having drinks at his house or whatever, listening to Still Sucks. Their newest album.
Yeah.
And I actually saved a bunch of stuff to do the Dad Vibes Fred Durst costume for Halloween this year.
Love that.
In my Amazon wish list, so I'll get that all set up here.
I love with this most recent album they basically kind of just went full tilt all into the fact that everybody hates them. Like that was the vibe.
Have you watched their music video?
You linked it to us. The deepfake video is hysterical. I was really before I realized what was going on, I was super confused at first. I was like, what is like what am I watching?
Tom Cruise cooking hot dogs on that barbecue is the most unsettling thing I've ever seen in my life. And I love horror movies.
Yeah. No, that video is solid. I was very confused when I first fired it up and you linked it. You're like, hey, new Limp Bizkit's out. I'm like, oh, cool. Gold Cobra wasn't terrible, so I started watching this and I'm like, wait, what is that's not Wes. That's kind of looks like Wes a little bit though. Like what the fuck?
It's crazy how like close Wes actually looked in that. Like he was the closest.
Yeah, he was the only one that was identifiable. Everybody else was like, I know that's supposed to be Fred because he's singing, but like, yeah, no, that was wild.
And the fact that like West being Joe Biden is like the tamest West has ever looked on video. Is pretty.
I think that's why they did it. Like an 80-year-old white guy, just an 80-year-old white guy. That's what you look like. But that somehow still looked like Wes Borland, like in normal life for some reason. Yeah, that was good.
It's West in like 30 more years.
No, Limp Bizkit's on my list. I haven't seen them yet. I would definitely go see them again for sure. Or again, I would go see them for the first time for sure. Just fuck it. That's the concert. You wear the Jinkos and the trip pants. Like, let's go. Fuck it.
Yes.
Just a bunch of fucking bunch of middle-aged people dressing like it's 1999.
Be freaking amazing. That should be the dress code. They should have a dress code for the shows.
Dude, that'd be hysterical. Well, it's like, so me and Veronica are getting married at some point, and like one of the things that we pitched is, we don't have a date or anything set. We're taking our time with it, but like one of the things we pitched was like, yeah, we just do a wedding where like it's 80s themed. Everybody has to dress up like it's the 80s. And my mom was like, you can't do that. That's ridiculous. Blah blah blah. And I was like, everybody would love it. Everybody would fucking love that. You cannot. Yes. If we said the theme is the wedding singer, everybody would fucking love that shit.
Yes.
I'd rather wear 80s clothes than dress clothes. So
yeah, exactly. I'd rather wear 80s clothes than dress clothes. That's perfect. Like everybody would love that shit. Giant hair and fucking powdered blue tuxedos with that ruffly shit on the front of them. Like, come on. Everybody would love that.
Sleeves for girls, the big hair. Yeah. Absolutely.
Everybody would love that shit. And the whole soundtrack would be incredible. Like, it would be just, you could throw the fucking cha-cha slide in there somewhere too, but yeah, man. It'd be amazing. Well, yeah, Veronica and I... All right, I have one more topic, and then I feel like we probably could wrap it up because this is the longest podcast we've ever done. Although it's given me some ideas that I'll talk to you about sidebar, Justin, because I've got some ideas brewing about some stuff we can probably do together.
Okay.
But anyways, one more topic. Music guilty pleasure. What is like your top one or two music guilty pleasures?
I don't believe in guilty pleasures. You like it,
Amen.
it.
Okay, so what about this? Music that you love that everybody else hates.
Oof.
We talked about this earlier. I could name one for you.
What do you got?
I'll let him answer. We had this discussion earlier.
I'll let you guys think, and I'll go first since I pitched it. So the reason I pitched this is Veronica and I are like deep down secretly closeted juggalos. We're like, we're into ICP. Like, and that's a bucket list band. Like, we both kind of really want to go see ICP just because. And like, I don't know what it is. We're both like, it's funny because like I was really into it when I was in grade school. So yeah, I talk about my parents were into all this Christian music. Well, obviously you're going to get the stuff you want from somewhere else. Well, the music was filthy, ridiculous, terrible language, all this stuff. So of course my friends listened to it and I was intrigued by it because it was so ridiculous. And like, a song called Fuck the World where literally the song fuck is used like 300 times. Cool. So, like, there's that nostalgia piece for me. Well, then I get with Veronica, and Veronica's ex-husband was, like, a hardcore juggalo. Like, knows the history of Psychopathic Records and, has the Dark Lotus tattoos and all that shit. So, she's, been in that world, too. And, like, she and I got together, and, like, occasionally we'll just go on drives and listen to ICP. So, anyways, there's the song, The Cha-Cha Slide. To the left. That's the Cupid Shuffle. Cha-Cha Slide is... Oh, anyway, everybody knows the Cha-Cha Slide. Well, anyways, we were listening to my Spotify one day, and I had it on random, and it was just shuffling through stuff. And obviously, occasionally, because I listen to it once in a while, ICP songs will pop up on there. Well, a song called the Chop Chop Slide came up, and apparently ICP covered that and did a spin on it called the Chop Chop Slide. Look it up. It's fucking hysterical. It is that song, but ICP mode. Like, it's... amazing. So anyways, that like we were just like, yeah, that's going to be the version of the Cha-Cha Slide we play at our wedding. My second one for me is probably definitely D Antwoord. That's definitely like I'd go see them in a heartbeat. Huge fan.
You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, huge fan.
They're pretty good live.
Fucking ridiculous. Like D Antwoord. That's my 2 cents. Everybody else, whoever goes next, go.
I don't know what would be considered a guilty pleasure.
Music's tough. Like, I can go on for movies that people hate that I love. Like, I can do that forever. But, like, music is tough for me.
Dude, Dude, I can do movies for days. Don't threaten me with a good time. We could talk. We're not going to talk movies right now because we'd be going for another 2 hours. But yeah.
I don't,
Music
I
stuff,
guess
yeah.
Britney Spears for me. Britney Spears, everyone seems to shit on her, but I fucking love
Well, no,
her.
I'd say that fits still. If you're talking about right now, you can unironically listen to Britney Spears. Like, yeah, that fits.
Love her. She's
I
amazing.
don't know. I guess the closest thing I can think of that I guess I told Ashley earlier. One of the last shows I went to before the pandemic was I went and saw Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, fuck it.
And it was like he was great. It was a great show. I have a ton of respect for that dude as a musician. So and he played drums, he played guitar, he was scratching, like he did it all, and like it was a great show. So that's as close as I can think of something. I did like the Juggalo stuff back in like junior high, but like I don't really listen to it anymore, so I can't really use it.
Don't get me wrong. I don't like. Not that I need to like justify and defend myself. I don't like. I'm not like up on all their new shit, but every once in a while I throw on I'll throw on Great Malenko and just roll with it. Just like whatever. Anyways,
I really like the first Dark Lotus album back in the day. I remember
that is a good album.
That is a good album.
Yeah, that is a good album.
Yeah, it's hard. Music's hard because like.
Yeah, I think the problem is it's a hard question too because we're all adults, and so when you become an adult, you tend to just be like, I like what I like. Fuck you, like whatever. Oh, you don't like that? I don't care.
That's why I went with the pop stuff because it's always the poppy mainstream that people consider a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Because it's like they label that in something. That's why I thought of the Justin Timberlake for you, and then the Britney Spears for me, and then even like if Spice Girls came around, I would pay $1 million to see them. Like just because they're just labeled as the mainstream media.
Yeah.
I guess kind of where it goes to, where it's directed that way instead of the rock, which no one really knows.
Pop music is popular for a reason, and it's because it's like junk food. It's like music junk food. Yeah. It just feels good, and you could argue it's not great, justifiably great, in terms of songwriting or this or that or blah, blah, blah. But like, if it sounds good and it just fits, it is. It's like music junk food, man. Sometimes Fritos taste really fucking good. And sometimes, man, Wanna Be My Lover by the Spice Girls just really fucking slams. If that came on at a concert and somebody covered that, you would lose your shit.
You would.
So hey, Heather, you're up. Go.
As far as like a particular band, I don't know because I'll Post Malone, The Weeknd, any 80s music. The only ones I can think of offhand are like random video game soundtracks, and I think I mentioned him at least in the STF Discord. Vetus.
yeah, you did.
Love him.
Good
I think
shit.
Everyone's like, who the fuck are you listening to? Like, this dude, awesome.
Love that. All right. Well, guys, this is the longest episode we've ever done. So congrats, Justin. You just broke a record with us. 2 hours and 17 minutes is what we're coming up on, guys.
Really?
Hey, we had to make a comeback somehow.
Well, so
right?
we had a lot of talks, and we had a meeting last week. It was last week, right? Yeah, last week with the three of us. And like we've been talking over stuff, we're getting ready to relaunch and stuff. And one of the things we talked about is like, do we want to set a time restriction? And I said, I don't think we should. I've done podcasts for a long time. I said, I think we should have a target, like an hour-ish. But the last thing that I want to do, I hate big podcasts where you listen to the podcast, the conversations get real good and juicy, and all right, we're coming up on time, and then it's like, well, what the fuck, So I didn't want us to go there, and tonight just kept going and going, and so I just let it ride, man.
We're flirting with like Joe Rogan length here.
I know, and the thing is, I feel like I could naturally steer this conversation into 2 more hours.
Yeah.
I think, and that's awesome. Like, I love it so much. This is one of my favorite shows we've done so far. It's awesome. Yeah, great. Very, very good. We touched a lot of stuff. Yeah, Justin, I'm going to hit you up, and actually I'll throw it into the studio chat after this, and just kind of throw some ideas. I have some ideas and some stuff that we could do off of this. I think it was really good conversation. But anyways, yeah, great show, great episode. We will go ahead and wrap it up. Because we're at 2 hours and 18 minutes now. Damn.
Don't call it a comeback.
I know. I gotta be up in like 5 hours.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing I was thinking. I was like, we just keep rolling, but I'm like, Ashley said she'd be tired, and I think she's got to get up early, and like, I got to get up early, and yeah, we'll just
Yawning over here, like trying to hide my face.
let's just land. We'll go ahead and land the plane, and then there'll be definitely other times. But yeah, guys, this is going live on Sunday the 16th at midnight. I shouldn't even say keep an eye out for what it. No, by the time you hear this, you'll be listening to it. So whatever. It's not like we're live right now, but one day we'll do that one day. But anyways, yeah, FamilyStyleNetwork.com. That's where you can find all the good stuff. JJ Reviews, which is where Justin writes his reviews on all the things. Usually Movic. Usually music, movies, and TV shows. But you never know. The sky's the limit on that.
10 minutes, I can listen to the new Metallica record. So look for that probably tomorrow morning.
There you go.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's knocking stuff out there. That's also where you're going to find the Discord invitation. There's a permanent Discord invite link there, and it's the best damn community on the internet. We've all been friends for 8+ months because of that, and that's why we're all here, and I cannot enough express it. You know, it's just a great place to be. Similar interests, all different people all over the world. Highly recommend you check it out. Our only ask is don't be a cunt. And yes, that's a very strong word, but our Australian brethren use it pretty frequently. So yeah, just don't be an asshole. Don't come in there and be a dick face. We won't tolerate that. But outside of that, we take everybody. You're all part of the family. But yeah,
Thighs and all.
Thighs and all. Shout out to Brandon the Dick Raymond.
And Justin, thank you so much for coming on too. Thanks for saying yes and shit.
Yes.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys, and thanks for listening to me blabber for 2 hours.
No, you know, and that's kind of what it's about. And this show has been a natural evolution over the past 4 episodes, and it'll probably continue to evolve. But like, we've kind of naturally just started progressing towards highlighting the person that comes on. You know, it's almost like doing a listener-based episode, you know, of like, yeah, these are people that listen to the podcast, or we're bringing them on, but we're highlighting different parts of you. So that's definitely cool, you know. And it started with the goofy food shit, and it just, from there, it kind of just naturally progressed into like, hey, let's just go. What else? You know, what are you about? What do you like? I don't know. It was awesome to have you on, man, and we'll definitely do it again. And like I said, I've got some ideas. I've got some ideas percolating in the back there that I'll drop in a little bit here. But definitely, yeah, great episode. Glad everybody's here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And yeah, stay tuned because there's also another podcast that we're working on that's going to be dropping real soon. That's not the Family Style Show. It's a different show that's more nerdy. So keep an eye out for that. That'll be dropping pretty soon. And otherwise, FamilyStyleNetwork.com for all of your needs, and on all the socials, Family Style Network, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that jazz. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
Bye, fam.